Okay, let me make sure that my microphone is on first. Okay, okay, it's all good. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This afternoon. It's afternoon now in Chicago. Um, Let me go through the whole procedure, because I may be sharing content, some copyright content. So let me go through the procedure. Federal FBI warning: federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. How are you guys doing this afternoon? Now it's afternoon in Illinois. Yeah, I hope you guys are with me. Let me read this, and yeah, because I want to talk about this with Perez Hilton, but also what I believe is the downfall of social media. But let me read this from NBCnews.com. And I think this image here on this magazine cover or whatever, I think this is very fitting, showing Perez Hilton is him removing this mask, if you will. I think this is a very fitting image, which is why I've chosen it for the thumbnail of this video live stream. But yeah, let me read this. NBCnews.com. All right, and this was just updated today around 11:24. Yeah, I believe. Well, around, I believe, is it Central Time? Yeah. All right. This is from NBCnews.com. Perez Hilton hospitalized after reports he live streamed self-harm, sheriff's officials say. All right. Police said they responded to the Miami area home of celebrity blogger and podcaster Perez Hilton after they received reports that he engaged in self-harm in a live streamed video Tuesday night. Now that's just last night. A spokesperson for the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said in an email that deputies responded to reports of someone who was live streaming acts of self-harm on social media. Okay, now I'm not going to share the images with you. I just I'm going to try not to. Yeah, but there are images of him, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even trying to. I'll just show you this much. Hold on. It's kind of blurred. Well, you know what? The images, they're very, very disturbing. They're very, very disturbing. Although they're blurred out, where he's like really like covered in blood. Yeah. You know what? Even though it's blurred out, yeah, I'm not gonna share it. And and I don't suggest y'all seek it out. But yeah, like there's a video, it's blurred, this image, but it says he's covered in blood. There's an image of him covered in blood, and he's harming himself. We used to call like being a cutter, I'll say. And he's harming himself, saying that he wants to die. Okay, he's inflicting harm on himself, and he's covered in blood, and he was doing this while live streaming. Okay, let me continue to read the article. But I suggest that y'all don't really look for these images yourself. I'm looking at a blurred image, but I don't even want to share that because let me click out of that because I'm not trying to transfer demonic energy. Yeah, I feel you. That's why I'm going to speak on this, Deirdre's neck. I feel you on Perez Hilton. Now I know I have to be careful in talking about this because it's still a human being. Yeah. I don't want Most High to be displeased with me and being inconsiderate, but I do feel that I need to get this message out. I'm feeling compelled because I was already kind of triggered by something that someone shared with me from social media. And then for me to see this, I'm like, nah, I gotta, because I know why I'm triggered and I know why I'm kind of upset. And, yeah. Well, I'm gonna get around to it. I'm sorry. Let me get back on where was I reading? Where was I reading? Yeah, a spokesperson for the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said in an email that deputies responded to reports of someone who was live streaming acts of self-harm on social media. The statement was sent in response to an inquiry about Hilton, but it did not name him. In a follow-up statement, the sheriff's office said the person was safely recovered and taken by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue to a local hospital where he was receiving medical attention. It said deputies spoke to family members at the scene who confirmed the person had been alone inside the residence. The video, which was streamed on TikTok before the platform pulled it, appeared to show Hilton covered in blood with visible cuts and holding what appeared to be a knife. In the video, viewers pleaded with him and asked for his phone number so they could alert authorities. So imagine these people watching them, they're horrified, like, oh my gosh, is he gonna do this? Why is he doing this? He's covered in blood and everything. And they're more than likely his fans and followers. So you can imagine how they were horrified witnessing this live. Video from Hilton's neighborhood taken by NBC South Florida sheriff. I'm sorry. Video from Hilton's neighborhood taken by NBC South Florida showed multiple sheriff's patrol vehicles and a street shuttered by yellow tape. Dante Rusciolelli, forgive me for any mispronunciations, the CEO of the talent management firm that represents Hilton Golden Artists Entertainment, said in a statement Wednesday that they do not have any additional confirmed information to share regarding Perez Hilton's condition. Our focus remains on Perez's health, recovery, and the privacy of both him and his family during this incredibly difficult time, he said. We are grateful for the outpouring of concern and support from fans, friends, and members of the media. We respectfully ask that everyone continue to honor his privacy. I was about to say legacy. To honor his privacy while he receives the care he needs. Hilton, 48, made a name in the early 2000s, publicizing and sometimes belittling celebrities who made public gaffes, or otherwise found themselves in trouble with the law. Hilton, whose real name is Mario Lavandeira, is a single father with 3 children, all under the age of 14 and born via surrogacy. In a June 17th video on Instagram, he announced that his family was moving back to Miami after having lived in Las Vegas for 3.5 years. God told me to move to Miami, he said in the video, in which he also discussed a recent hospital stay. In a follow-up video, Hilton and the children expressed excitement about the move, manifesting abundance, manifesting just family, peace, good times, Hilton said. Manifesting health, good health. That's what's most important. In addition to his website, Hilton has expanded his online presence with the Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker, on which the two parse the latest celebrity news and gossip. In 2010, he said he would stop bullying people on his website as part of his effort to discourage bullying among teenagers. I really want to be part of the solution and not the problem, he told Ellen DeGeneres on her show Ellen. Okay. And they give information to, the a hotline. Okay. Because, this is a serious subject, considering those who have attempted to unalive themselves. Yeah. So I know that I need to be considerate. But I gotta say what I gotta say. I'm gonna try to be considerate. And how you doing, STL? STL from the crew. How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Deidre's neck. Yeah, that's what it says here. I didn't know that either. How you doing, Keandre? Yeah, but I got to talk about him. Because his influence, like, yeah, And I consider what I watched not that long ago. I had watched something on Perez Hilton. Yeah, and what's interesting, yeah, so I was gonna title this, I'm gonna be honest, what I was gonna title this stream, but I took, I said, no, let me be sensitive to the subject. But I do want to still say this. I do still want to question this. Is Perez Hilton glitching? That's what I wanted to title this. And you understand why I want to title this. Consider this image here that I chose for the thumbnail. All right. Yeah, I think this image is ideal. Showing him remove this mask. Okay. Almost like, yeah. And it says here on this, I guess, magazine cover, The Advocate, it says here on the cover, the real Perez Hilton, as if he's been into character. All right. But I think this might be a little deeper, and you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. Okay. Um, but yeah, let me tell you how I feel about Perez Hilton, how I've always felt about him. As you would guess, I've never liked him. All right. I've never liked him, and I can't say that I follow him, but I know how influential he's been. And you know what? I I've developed this like really love-hate relationship with social media. And I've been a part of social media almost since its beginning. Well, I know it goes back to the 90s, but I actually became like a part of social media myself around 2001, 2002. I think I first got the internet in 2001, and definitely by 2002, I had became like a regular poster, as I've shared with you guys, in the message forums, in the message forum community, like BET.com and eventually AOL Black Voices, and even at VH1.com. And just using the same username, Lashid for you. All right, using pretty much the same username since, and eventually I came into YouTube, as you guys know, in 2008, making my first video. But I've been a part of, social media world since like 2001, and it really, really helped me. I felt that it was, uh, yeah, it was kind of therapeutic. It became kind of therapeutic. Although when I first got the internet, I was excited because I'm a person, I love to learn. I love to travel, although I'm not really able to travel as much as I like to. And what I loved about having the internet now, like when I first got my first home computer in around 1997, I love that I had also purchased the collection Encyclopedia Britannica, and it had a way through the computer where I through the disk I had, that where I could kind of travel, in Brazil, and the little disc that I had, the set, the Encyclopedia Britannica set I had. But then when I had the internet, and this was even before Google, it started out with dial-up. I was like, oh wow, now I can really like explore and travel and learn more, and through the internet, right? But I never thought I would find myself in social media. Now I never got into the chat rooms. I never was really into that, because it started off social media. I believe it started off with the chat room world. That goes kind of back to the 90s. And back then, late 90s, I just knew about emails. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't become a part of the online community till around 2002. And that was with the message forum. So I definitely was a part of the message forum community. And I remember around that time, in those early, we were learning about people like Wendy Williams. Yeah. So, but it was still, even though that's not what I intended to utilize the internet for, social media, I just wanted to be able to travel, via, the internet. And yeah, I remember I was looking up things on movies, Pretty in Pink, through the internet. Big mistake. It took me to something. All this porn stuff came up. I remember that was one of my earlier internet experiences. But anyways, I was, I didn't know I would find myself like all in message boards. We'd be talking about entertainment and listen to stuff on gossip. And initially it was kind of therapeutic for me, to talk about things and media, et cetera, and the news and everything, but from a blacker perspective. Like when I discovered the Black community online, like at BET.com and then AOL Black Voices. And so that was really, really cool. And it was also therapeutic because around that time, I, like I talked to you guys about, I had back to back tragedies. I lost my mom unexpectedly. My mom was attacked after recovering from a stroke, and I had to take care of her until she unexpectedly passed away. We took her to the hospital. Next thing you know, they wanted to keep her. They said that they felt it was best to put her in a nursing home. But then next thing you know, I get a call that my mother had a heart attack and passed away. And that was very unexpected because I had been taking care of her. She was recovering. Because imagine your mom being attacked in her home after recovering from strokes. So and some thug attacked my mom in her home very brutally. And so that put me through a lot. And then for just like right after that, I lose my uncle that I stayed with. And then a month after that, and this was just a year after my mom's passing, I lose my uncle who I used to live with as a child. And then I lose a month after that, my brother, 2004, unexpectedly under questionable circumstances in jail. Okay. And then it was just like one after another. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, and cousins, and my sister eventually. So it was like my sister found overdose. And I don't mean to tell you guys a sad story, but I was going through a lot. And so I would just come in social media. That was like, it was kind of therapeutic. So it was a good thing because it would keep me from thinking about what I was going through so that I wouldn't do something crazy, And also at that time I stayed very busy working, went back to college, anything to keep me from thinking about what I was going through, And so, the talking, even if it was just typing through online, it was therapeutic for me. It was helpful. But then, over time, definitely after discovering YouTube and like what I told you guys, seeing all what was going on with this gender warring, black men versus black women through YouTube world, especially after discovering YouTube world and going back to college and seeing that the younger people were being influenced, the younger people that I was now back in college with, me being a Gen Xer and I'm going back to college with these millennials. Yeah, as you know, I'm now like in my early 50s, but back then I was in like my late 20s, early 30s when I went back to college. I was in my like early to mid 30s. Yeah, so but I'm with these younger people and I'm seeing how they're being heavily influenced by social media. Yeah. But anyways, y'all have heard that story before. How you doing, Reef? Yeah, yeah, that was my way of grieving. I remember when I found out, when the police came and told me my sister was found deceased, I didn't even call my family. I was so scared because it's like, I can't do this again. I can't, I was so afraid to relay the news. I don't know. I just went right to social media and I was typing about anything. They didn't even know what happened to me. Like my husband, he knows. He's here when I was at college. That's where I met my husband. He knew I would be there every day, cheerful. He would have no idea that I was going through the hell that I was, and just losing my sister and everything. But that's one of the reasons I married my husband, because he was my friend and there for me. And I'd be playing cards and stuff with her. They wouldn't even know what's going on with Granny, which was my nickname because I was older than them. They had no idea really what was going on really with Granny. But yeah, because I've been learning, But yeah, I went right to social media. And eventually I told him, I lost my sister, y'all. And then I just kept talking like it wasn't nothing. And then the person had to tell me up in social media, I think you need to contact your family, Lashif. They had to tell me to, because I was like frozen. I was so afraid that I just acted like typing. And so I just said it like nonchalantly, like it wasn't no thing. Hey, Pinazoy. Yeah, but it was therapeutic, and then when I discovered YouTube, even though I was kind of combating or kind of trying to confront, it was just months before the H. McGowan tragedy. It was just months before that. It's almost like I knew, like, this is getting bad. So I'm saying this to say, even though I loved social media and I've developed a love-hate relationship. And then I also think of how it's kind of, it helped me to get around things. Now, praise God, I was able to get through school. But then I feel like at the same time, it's been, and then also look at what it's done to our kids. How the, Toy Story 3 kind of, I mean, Toy Story, this recent Toy Story, which one is this? Toy Story 5 that we just went to see. It kind of shows you what's going on, you know what I'm saying, with our kids. Kids who once knew how to play, and now all they doing is tap 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 tap, and they're all in, so going through these TikToks one after another, these, especially since they have these shorts now. And it's like either we're up in here like myself these long periods of time doing these live streams, or it's like these shorts, these 1 minute shorts, and it's like decreasing our attention span. And what it's doing, it's like, so yeah. And one really nasty side of social media is is the gossip. Now we all look, we'd be lying if we said we didn't watch the Jerry Springers. At least sometime. There was a certain point with the Maury Povich. I stopped watching that stuff long time ago with the "You Are the Father." But there was a point where we all, even if we were disgusted, watching the talk shows and the fighting on the talk shows and all that stuff. There was a time when we were all, kind of watching this stuff. There's a time we all watched Entertainment Tonight, like in the 90s, or Access Hollywood, or Current Affair, and and these things, whether it's news scandals, because there was a time when the news, they just reported the news. But then eventually, even these 24-hour news networks, they started focusing more on the scandals and competing with the tabloids and all that, whether it was the Joan Benet Ramsey, or whatever the case was. So we've all got caught up. And I remember, because my mama, she used to always get like Inquirer, Star Magazine, People Magazine, stuff like that. My mama used to always, going way back to the 80s, and perhaps 70s, my mama used to always get the magazines. She didn't get like the tacky ones, like they talk about aliens. And yeah, but she did get, the ones that my mama got was Inquirer, Star Magazine, and they'd be criticizing how the celebrities dress, or there'd be tabloid gossip or whatever. My mama was a reader, an educated woman, but she did get those tabloids. But I remember, and so when I became an adult in the early 90s, yeah, so I was also getting the tabloids. But I remember feeling a certain ways after the death of Princess Diana. And it's crazy because I remember when my family watched the wedding, the royal wedding, everybody was watching that, like in 1981, of Prince Charles and Prince Diana. But it's like, now I'm watching the funeral. And remember, even though I believe it was a conspiracy behind her passing, I don't believe that was just a thing of paparazzi chasing her. But back then, they made us believe that her death was the result of careless paparazzi, photographers, etc., following her, and try to, led to her an accidental, tragic crash. Right. And that's what we believe back then. So then I remember during that time, I started feeling, that's when I kind of, I pretty much stopped purchasing. That was like late 90s, the tabloids regularly, the Star and Inquirer. That's when I stopped purchasing. Like maybe I'd get like People, but like Star and Inquirer, that's when I kind of stopped purchasing them regularly like I used to. And then I just also around that time too, just found myself just getting more, if I'm going to, I was already a reader, but I just found myself getting more into like Dick Gregory. And also, after it was a GQ, because I loved my magazines, but there was a GQ article on Michael Jackson in 95, was Michael Jackson framed. And it was an 11-page article. And that started getting me even more so into conspiracy theory, like maybe there's something more to this with Michael Jackson. And I don't know, just one thing, me already being a person raised by my mother to know to question things with the government and so, but anyways. Now the scriptures, let me see, what is the Bible scriptures on us being in the age of information? Okay, is it Daniel 12:4? Let me see. Daniel 12, chapter 12. Yeah, is that it? King James Version. And that, okay. And I'm just going to be reading King James translation. But The scriptures read Daniel in chapter 12 and verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So it's speaking of a time in these scriptures, it's speaking of a time when knowledge is going to be increased. Some people believe that this is a prophecy of the age of information. And a lot of people, and yeah, I would definitely believe that. Let me just show you guys. Let me do a screen share, show you what it is. Part of the scripture. I definitely believe we're in that time. So, in that sense, we can say the internet is a good thing, because I will say this, that, like I knew that we were, well, I was first made aware that our people, so-called, Black Americans, that who were enslaved and said, whose ancestors were said to have been taken from West Africa and enslaved and eventually enslaved in the Americas. I learned back in the 80s, late 80s, from my one brother that, we were the descendants of Yasharel. However, I can't say that I was totally convinced, and even though my brothers, them, when they would study the Bible back in the late 80s and I was a teenager, and they had all these books, and I'm like, man, where y'all get these books? These publications, like, where y'all get these books? Now, I didn't know I didn't know anything about the Apocrypha or these hidden books. I didn't know they had these publications and stuff. And I'm like, where y'all get this? But back then, what I'm saying, you just have to really go to the library. Like, I remember when I went through my phase after my family moved to the burbs for a couple of years, and I just really, and my mom, even though she always talked to us on Black history, always had us reading and stuff, I think my mom kind of, I wouldn't say became complacent. No, she never assimilated. Don't get it twisted. But she just was a little comfortable. Yeah. And I don't know, considering what I was going through, this new experience and racism and everything, and just feeling out of place, out of touch. So, that's when I really started reading more so on my own, and not just because my mom made me read, but like when I was a preteen, and I just started, reading on my own. But back then, so like I would go to the library and get books. All right. And back then you really did your own research, in other words, it wasn't as convenient as it is now. But me going back to college and discovering, and also when I went back to college and we were able to access Hoover Books online library. That was my first introduction to an online library. It was Hoover Books, and that was awesome. Because our instructors, like our professors, they didn't want us going to Wikipedia. They really deterred us from going to Wikipedia for information, right? Because things are not necessarily factual in Wikipedia, and people could change. So that was one thing we were deterred from doing, and it was important that we gave citations and everything. So we had access, and we were given we could set up passwords to have access to Hoover Books. So I discovered that was my first time discovering really online library. And then there's JSTOR, and eventually Google Books, and oh my gosh! And when I was working on my Ancient Egypt series, over 10 years ago, I discovered that's when it was solidified who we were as Yasharel, because like I said, it was information actually coming to me, like it was Yah's will that this information coming to me that I wasn't even seeking, and this information was coming to me. So yeah, and it just got me even more so with Google Books, and I learned how to narrow down my searches and use the tools and utilize and use quotations and different tactics. My husband, being in the computers, taught me to do, and I've always been a detective type too. I also helped me in exposing some of these folks. And I've always been, a sleuth. But I always wanted to be a lawyer as well, since I watched the movie Jagged Edge in 1985. But yeah, how you doing, Love and Light? Venezoid, Reeve. Yeah, so I can't lie. It's these things about the internet that I love. Like I felt like this is all y'all's will. But then there's that side. It's just like us just recently talking about music and technology, Garwin. Like we were talking about the synthesizer. Like, I appreciate the synthesizer, but I do understand why there were those, especially like musicians, those who are really into really music lovers, who felt that the synthesizer took away the heart, the spirit, the soul, and made people lazy by synthesizing instrumental sounds like the harp, like the drum, like you can't replace. And I get it, I get it. I get it, because technology is supposed to help make things easier and more convenient. It's not supposed to totally take the place. Because I sure understand how they feel with the AI, but I still have an appreciation for the synthesizer, because there were musicians like Prince and Stevie Wonder who, being that they were already very gifted and talented, it just helped them to further their creativity, right? You know? So, I can understand it. It's kind of a love-hate relationship, and also me being younger, the 80s, 70s baby, and much of my young years in the 80s. So of course I'm gonna be attracted. Me being used to love house music, loved house music, still do. Um, so yeah, and a lot of the electronica, new wave, high energy. So I do still have a love for the synthesizer and drum machine, but I get what they're saying too. Now this AI, I can't get with it. I'm sorry. I'm not mad at everyone who uses it. Like, I know watching reports for some of the thumbnails and stuff. I understand, but see, that's understandable. But there are some people they're writing rhymes. But yeah, these are the things that I can't stand about social media, because yeah, my husband had to show me, and that's when I came up in here and showed them. I'm like, y'all see this? Because you gotta understand, I'm an artist, and I used to rap, writing, and freestyling, and writing my own rhymes, and you know what I'm saying? It's just the idea that people could just type in, okay, I want to rap and diss somebody about their hair. And you got a whole channel where dissing black women, with every little response and talking about black women hair, they're going to AI for it. I'm like, oh no, this is not cool. This is not cool. And people are making diss tracks to people totally using AI. Totally, you know what I'm saying? They're using AI for themselves, it's for their faces. It's like AI is the devil. Like, this is, and yeah. And although watching reports, they understand how it can be convenient and how to utilize it, but they have also pointed out how they believe demonic, like there are demons behind some of this technology. And I hear them on that. I feel them on that. So these are the things that I hate about social media. Another thing, and then getting back to Perez Hilton, another thing that I hate about social media, but even before that, because I was upset this earlier, I was mad early, and I realized, I love you, Reef, but you sharing with me somebody talking about Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's widow, talking about she belonged to the streets. Y'all don't even look into that. Don't even look into it. I'm sorry, sis, I couldn't even watch it. And I realized that got me stirred up. And I'm also seeing, yeah, it's like everybody, and then also understand, y'all, I'm seeing this here. Okay, let me see. Where's okay. And this is the main channel that I'm on. So please forgive me, I haven't got around to y'all comments in my prior live streams and videos. It's just that I'm usually on this here channel. And even though you see I'm subscribed to a woman talking about menopause. But I'm looking at this, I was listening to this, and it's got me mad. Like, okay, this is Neferkari T. Desalis. Oh, it's talking about this Dennis Sperling guy. Oh my gosh. And he's okay, FBA lawyer says Haitians are colonizers and brags about American military history. And I'm like, oh, I can't stand these agents. And then he said that he was on Willie D's. I said, this just tells me he was on Willie D's talking about Kamala Anthony. And I'm like, this is just telling me that these people, oh my gosh, they have been up in here, these agents. It's like they have taken over YouTube. And I'm hearing about TikTok. I'm scared to really go into TikTok because I'm hearing how bad it is with the even younger generation than the millennials now, these Zoomers and stuff. And the way that they're talking now, I'm like, I'm scared to mess with it. I tried to set up a TikTok channel, but I ain't been over there since. I can't. It's like YouTube and stuff. That's the last stop. YouTube is the last stop for me. I think people try to say go to Rumble. No, Tommy is there. I don't want the presence. I can't. This is the last stop. All right. And if I don't utilize this, I did the message board thing. But I'm like, oh my gosh, these people. It's like, I'm like, God, I know I shouldn't be looking for punishment. But I am at a point where I am so sick. How dare y'all be up in here for years causing division? First, causing division between black men and black women. Yeah, and I'm listening to this, and he's using the Haitian Revolution. They also, they cause these light skin, dark skin, all this stuff that they're doing. Black men, black women, and now he's using the Haitian Revolution. The Haitian versus Dominican, to tap into the whole light skin, and I'm just getting sick of it. I've known these people, and I'm gonna tell you, like in the case of Angry Man. Now he can't really jump on the whole FBA train, although he wants to. I'm telling you, I've been on a panel not because there once upon a time when I was invited to a panel, I thought some of these guys were sincere, but I see that they're all agents. But anyways. Yeah, and I remember, and I didn't know who else was gonna be on the panel, and one of the persons was Angry Man and Crystal Cares. There was another. I'm like, and me and Sister Radical, we just like, man, yeah. But after that, pretty much after that, it was like, nah. After the whole experience too with the Black sector, I had my own panel, and even with my own panel, there was these corrupt people. I wasn't aware of them, but I'm like, oh, hey, they're my people, letting them up. They starting stuff, yeah. If you notice, I just pretty much had the panels with the same people or the same person, like me and Gar. I'm not saying no disrespect to the rest of you, but I had to, because I realized you got these infiltrators that they've just infiltrated, just totally, they've been planted, I believe, planted all through social media, agents of chaos and unnecessary division. I understand the scriptures say, be ye separate, but these are, I believe, agents of unnecessary division and chaos. Do you understand what I'm saying? They've divided this guy, this Sperling guy. I showed you guys just a few years ago, and he's always trying to scare people by, with these little, trying to sue people or threatening to sue to, what I'm saying, to deter you from confronting him, knowing he has grounds for nothing, but he's always trying to, and I'm like, oh, these people make me want to pull out my hair. And then, so for me to see what you share with me, Reef, I'm like, I don't mean no harm, sis, but why you share that with me on Betty Shabazz? Why you share that with me? These people have been up in here for years. And like this guy here, he's so FBA. It's like, it don't even matter that just 3 years ago, this person who was buddy with Kevin Samuels, it doesn't matter. Just 3 years ago, he was promoting females, Latin mestiza females from overseas to Black American men, telling them to get their passport and click if you like, with showing women twerking and all that. I'm like, and people acting like, I could not watch it. I was livid. I'm telling you. And I'm like, and I'm realizing this is what got me feeling like, and it's like, am I wrong for wanting to see judgment? So then I see this on Perez Hilton. I see this on Perez Hilton. I just so tired of, like, where are the real people up in here? And I feel like, I'm telling you, Leonard Davis, I don't feel like it's real people up in here no more. Where are the real people? And I've been open with y'all. I talked about having a talk show experience. Only reason I would love to tell y'all the name and everything. But the thing is that I have to respect the person who was, on there. That was the thing of me getting a call. It was like 90s, but understand, remember, I told you these things from the jump. There is nothing secretive about me. Me getting a call. What is this? They try to make me look like for speaking against the swirler. That was just a thing of a person wanting to go to a damn hotel room. That's all that was about. But these people over there, I'm telling you, they are some straight up Yeah, it's like these are some. I really believe are some damn plants up in here. Yes. So me seeing this on Perez Hilton, and like I said, I wanted to title this. See, it's Perez Hilton. He, I'm not gonna lie, represents much of what I hate about. He's that because like I said, I got a love-hate relationship now. Like it's like a woman, I really, really hate social media, and the hate is growing more. Where like, especially after I did my ancient Egypt series and I discovered all that I discovered, that's when I was loving now, like YouTube, for instance. I was still in love with social media because I'm able to access this information and this information coming to me even. We got Google Books. But now, and they're talking, what did my husband just show me? Something on with AI and books and what they're going to be doing with these online libraries. Where they're going to be, yeah, so we better do some screenshots and download PDFs or whatever we can do. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that certain things I'm going back to, like, okay, I may have bookmarked a book. Okay, I'm gonna come back and read the rest of this later. I'm coming back, the book is gone, or you got to pay all this money. You got to purchase the book. And then I noticed that the books are now, like this one book that we've shared up in here, I believe in Israel and a couple of pages, you got to pay how much money for that book now? Whereas like you were able to see it free online. And just like with the Russian iconography, praise Yah that there were people, brothers and sisters up here who were kind enough to share that they possessed the book. And so they were kind enough to share from the pages and share with us. But yeah, I'm seeing things are gone. I'm going back to things I may have bookmarked a month ago or a year ago. And okay, let me go back and read this. And it's gone. I've shown y'all where things I bookmarked. Right, we're gonna have to go to the library. They probably changed the library. Yeah, I ain't been to an actual library in a minute. Man, I'm just these agents and they the way they can flip flop and nothing's getting called out. And then they got these bots, these paid subs and bots, and it's like I don't feel like anybody's real up in here anymore. How is it that I got 4 channels removed? Now only one I got back. And you got these people, what am I saying that's that controversial? So you can understand why I'm about to pull out my hair. Yeah, and the video you showed me, I know of that YouTuber. We're not going to say that person's name, talking about Betty Shabazz. They've been up in here underground for years, but notice that video that got like 10,000 views. You see what I'm saying? Who are these people? That person's never shown their face. Never shown their face. These people are wicked. They are wicked. So I'm like, I'm finna, let me rant and in talking about getting back on Perez Hilton now. Cause I'm gonna tell you, this guy, yeah, it's something. I'm not even gonna show the image. I suggest that you guys do not look up. Cause yeah, there's images and him. I didn't see the video, and I don't suggest, but I'm in Google image. Yeah, he's like all covered in, like totally covered in blood, looking like a horror movie. But this is real, and he actually like some sort of ritual in front of his live viewers. And I know this is very sensitive, but apparently he had been slicing himself. We would call that like a cutter. And they said that when the authorities or the police were called, he was saying something like, I hope they, shoot him. Like he wanted them that he like saying for them to shoot him. They hope they shoot me or something like that. I'm trying to like, whoa, what is going on? So what's really going on? But what's really creepy, y'all, they're saying that just weeks earlier, and that's the thing. And this is what also disgusted me. Because I had to learn more about this, I had to go to another disgusting TMZ, Wicked. And so he's recently, now as we know, he's not wearing the pink hair. I believe he stopped that years ago. But You remember he had the colorful hair and everything, and it's just something about his eyes. Like I tell my husband, we was playing this, like his eyes, they just, and I don't mean to talk about if you have light color eyes, it ain't just about that. I'm not talking about, but I don't look him in the eye because he got like this. You know when we used to talk about some of the truthers and conspiracy theorists and stuff talking on Illuminati and all that, they talk about his the reptilian. But he do got these like eyes that are like, yeah, like something ain't right with the pupils or something. Yeah, they say he was saying, I hope that the cop or the police officer, he's saying, because of course the authorities will call because he's doing this online and, live in a live stream. Yeah. So he's saying that he hoped that the police, shoot him. That's what he was saying. Like he want to be taken out. Like he want to be put out of his misery. I'm telling you, some of these people don't think because they're making a lot of money that they are. A lot of these people that you got to be miserable. Let me tell you something about. Yeah, but what's interesting? They're playing here. He's quoting the Bible just some weeks ago. Like, isn't this something? Isn't this something? And I'm gonna tell you this. I know I'm offending people. Yeah, you know what's up. Hold on. I'm gonna highlight your comment as well. You know what's up. But I said, let me be sensitive. Let me pray before even coming up in here. Because you know what I was going to title this, Is He Glitching? But I said, I know that this is sensitive. And I don't want to, and it ain't about me fearing people. It's about the Most High, But I feel like I got to, okay, I ain't gonna go there. But I have to say this, so the XYZ, because we got this idea that they're all nice and they just want peace and love and they want to. I know I don't mean to sound like I'm just salty because what I talked about with the person I went on Let's Stay With Me. It ain't just that. But I'm gonna tell you, because even when you think about, I got to be careful. The acting itself, or this idea. You remember Pastor Stephen Darby? He read the details of the manifesto. These manifestos. You know what I'm talking about? That was proposed in what year was this? Didn't sound very nice. But the plans of the GAY manifesto. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I'm just saying from some of the experiences I had, these to be some of the most selfish people. This whole idea, just like I said, that this idea that that nerds are nice automatically. I'm the good guy that the girls pass. Like I had to tell when I was on the when Obsidian came up there with, I did not expect that on the panel, new possibility, but he had been trying to get my attention at Obsidian Media. I said, look, if y'all the nice guys, they supposedly as in opposition to the thugs, I'd rather be with thugs. I would rather risk having having my credit destroyed. I'd rather risk getting robbed. If y'all are the nice guys, like this whole idea, and I ain't talking about black men. No, I'm talking about idiots. I talked about when I was in school, putting them special classes with the supposed smarter kids, where they would take me from the regular classroom. And that's only because my mom had me reading. There was nothing wrong with my brain, but my mom had me reading and all that before I was in school. And so in the earlier years of school, like up to like fourth grade, they would always we think she needs to be in this class, advanced class, and I hated being in them classes. So I would purposely dumb myself, get bad grades to get back with the normal kids, because that's when I realized that these other kids, something is not balanced in their brain. Like I was an artsy kid. These other kids, them supposedly smarter kids, I did not have a great experience with. They were just like man dog on Dexter's Laboratory. just always competitive. They just mean. Like as if the reason that there's such high intelligence is like something is imbalanced in their brain, but they lack creativity, sense of humor. But anyways, this idea that nerds automatically are nice, or like I had to do a lot or some live streams debunking that idea. That don't think because someone nerdy and that they're automatically nice, or that the pretty popular girl is automatically mean, or these little stereotypes that we automatically. Yes, I'm telling you. Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you. Same with a lot of these guys in the HI. Oh, goodness, did I almost say that? The XYZ is ideal. And see, a lot of us females, like myself included, we kind of fall for that motherly instinct. So we see them I was just watching Big Brother. I don't know if y'all watch Big Brother, but I needed something to watch while doing my hair. And this is my second season of watching that show, even though it's been on for years. But yeah, it was this. Oh goodness, it was this gay dude. Excuse me, but he was on Big Brother. He was crying. Okay, there was this woman. I guess she was a veteran of the show. They brought her back, and she's like kind of, a white woman like around my age, a little older than me, maybe. Yeah, well, I know she's in her 50s, and she's kind of seen as a motherly figure on the show along with this other black woman. But yeah, she was. Yeah, this one gay guy, I guess he said he was on RuPaul's Drag Race, right? It's like gay Latino dude, and she's hugging him and she's comforting him, and he wants to be on her good side because she has influence in the house, right? And she's respected, and yeah. But anyways, and so she was hugging him. My son is gay. He came out the closet a couple of years ago, and he's crying, and then he even talked about losing his mom recently. So then so she's hugging him. They're having this really emotional moment. She's been a mother. And as soon as she walked out the room, he looked into the camera, like giving this smirk. Like, I said, hell, and talking about, like, basically he playing this woman. He playing this woman, playing on her motherly, feminine, motherly. I'm like, wow, this is dirty. But you still got people up in here defending him. I didn't say that. You said it. I did not say that. I did not say that. All right. I have a loved one who has that. So I would not, who's, I know someone close who's, so forgive me if that even tried to come out my mouth, because I don't wish that on nobody. So don't try to shame me. But yeah. Well, hold on. I think I could find that clip. Hold on. What was the guy's name? Oh gosh, what's his name? Dang it. What's it? He was on. What's his name? No, what the heck is this guy's name? That makes it easy. Jason. And what was the woman's name? Angela. Oh yeah, I got to see if they got the updated episode. I don't want no spoiler. Yeah, and Jason gets messy. Oh, y'all seeing what I'm sharing? Yeah, they didn't brought dude for Survivor here, Rick Devins. Yeah, so she goes into, how he's used his sexuality to play her. Yeah, this guy here. And she going off and she telling everybody, well, her punishment is to wear an egg suit for something she didn't win in. But in case y'all wondering why she's in an egg suit. But it's part of this like game punishment that she got to endure. But she goes off and exposes, and I'm watching, I ain't gonna lie, and I'm saying, you know what, because I've had it kind of happen to me. I am glad that this is getting exposed. I am so glad that this is getting exposed, because I think of the person I help, you know what I'm saying? And that's only because I have a friend and she like hanging with XYZ men, She like always was trying to get me to go to it. This was over 20 years ago, y'all. Always was trying to get me to go. So yeah, it was a way of her getting rid of her friend because she didn't want him staying with her no more. All of a sudden, she knew I was the type that take in people who are homeless, and so next thing you know, I don't know how, but that guy ended up saying me. But the way he did me, simply because I wouldn't let him have his lover come over. Yeah, but hold on, but I'm trying to find that scene. Hold on, where he looks in the I was like, so imagine, because I was almost falling for it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is dirty. Now, yeah, okay. So you see, there's a scene here. I'm trying not to, because yeah. So he crying all this, and she's comforting him, laying there with him. And as soon as she walk away, I'm like, oh, this dirty dog. This dirty dog. But anyways, y'all, this ain't what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, he goes into, and do you know there's people? Yeah, I'm giving spoilers in case you ain't watched it. You know, he gets voted off. Dude is so pathetic. But now, since now all of a sudden people still trying to defend him. I'm like, I'm so tired. Now that he's been voted off instead of this black woman. Now they're coming up in here defending him and all this. And I was disgusted by him after this. Now that he got to leave instead of this black woman, even though it's more just reason for him to leave, no reason for the black, but being that he's entertaining to them, now he got people defending him all over again, even though they were acting like they were disgusted about this. And I'm just so tired of, them not being, held accountable. Like I noticed on the show, The Challenge, this one guy, I'm glad that people seeing his shystiness getting called out. Because a lot of times, sad to say, I hate to admit it, but a lot of us females be seeing them as besties and all of that. You see how that's why I had to fall back in defending Tyra Banks. You gave them a platform. You gave the Miss J and the J's this platform when people wasn't even used to seeing all that yet. We can go through history, Reef. We can go through history. But let me get back on this Perez Hilton, because they may come for me on this video. But let me get back on this. Because, I got a strike one time for, just because when they were talking about, they had the audacity in the year 2019 to talk about reparations for the Stonewall incident 50 years prior. And I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all talking about, if this ain't a slap in the face, they talking about reparations for gays, and nobody was harmed, with the Stonewall riots. They didn't even, and they talking about reparations as we're talking about, being that, from 1619 to 2019. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about 100 years ago in 1919, the Chicago riots, or massacre, shall I say, that opened up for the Red Summer. If you want, and so do you know that video got a strike and it was removed by YouTube, and I couldn't get that video back up? Do you know that? But anyways, because you can't talk about them, and I wasn't even talking about them like that. I just wanted to focus on the Oh, okay, thank you. As I thought. But hold on. Oh, I just made two. Okay, sorry, y'all. Talking about husband for a second. Anyways, my friend, she would always be trying to. I'm like, and this is when we were still in our 20s. She was always trying to get me to go to the clubs where they at. I'm from Chicago. I know about, like with the, it ain't like I'm going to be all the. But like, look, I'm a heterosexual female and was unmarried at that time. Why would I be wanting to? We supposed to be trying to, as young, beautiful women. We're supposed to be trying to go around. Yeah. But anyways, But my friend, she's like, nah, it's fun. She wanted to be where she was these clubs in Chicago where XYZ men would be frequently because, she had friends. But yeah, it was this one, the white guy said, I eventually somehow let stay with me. But yeah, he was, I noticed he would go from black woman to black woman. He would claim that actually black women, more specifically, he told me he felt were nicer than white women to gay men. That's what he told me. But anyways, that was over 20 years ago, y'all. Over 20 years ago, y'all. But anyways, it's interesting. He's quoting the scriptures. But let me just tell you this with Perez Hilton. Because I did a video. I did a video years ago in 2019, right after losing my original channel. This was one of the first videos, if not the first, I did on my new channel. That and they came at this channel too. This, yeah, it was Preachers of the New Age. It was actually shared. This video was actually shared by the one formerly known as Thoughts Camera Action before he flip-flopped. But he actually shared this video of mine that I had put together. Showing you, okay, the video, what I was showing it, these preachers of the New Age, this is supposedly the church today. This is the Christian church today. They got RuPaul on here. And it's not, I remember, I also did my videos. We need to stop watching RuPaul. That was a guilty pleasure. I watched like maybe 3 seasons of it. And I said that, because, I was in the shows like America's Next Top Model and all that. And also me being a person in the fashion design. So even though I knew these were men and I liked performing and performances and all of that. So, I tried to overlook that they were, like in drag, because I like the fashion and this and that. But then I realized I need to stop watching this show. Also, I had like a demonic dream after watching one of the, we talk about these like fever dreams or these dreams where you believe, some people believe the witch riding. What do you call them dreams? Where you be like kind of frozen and I do believe it was demonic energy for me watching this performance on RuPaul. But yeah, so I was talking about these so-called preachers today, these Christian preachers today, and you wonder why so many people leaving the church. But this is Christianity. And understand, I am a Bible believer. I believe in what y'all call the Old and New Testament, as well as the book. I also know that there are books that were separated, okay, from the canon. Yeah. And I do believe in the Messiah who is spoken of in the quote unquote New Testament, who y'all may still refer to as Jesus Christ or Yahushua HaMashiach. So don't get it twisted, y'all. But I no longer refer to myself as a Christian. And this is one of the reasons why. Yeah, so these New Age preachers, as I would call them, with this New Age philosophy and stuff. Yeah, and they're talking about, see, just because you hear them say God, don't be fooled.
Think the thoughts that I think
don't be fooled. Just like, and I say, if anything, the most dangerous things that Oprah has done was actually, they have been exaggerating, lying about her with black men and all that. Actually, what Oprah has done that is most dangerous is promoting a lot of this New Age philosophy. What is supposedly this new idea of Christianity or whatever, the Christ consciousness, if you will.
They go out into the world, and life says,
yeah, but I had shared, okay, but see, yeah, and but that's how these churches are. I hear that there are people coming to church in full drag and stuff now, so nothing surprises me. But anyways, I was sharing this on RuPaul, but then I had to share this clip right here. This is also RuPaul.
Doing, this is so much fun, all these gorgeous men. Have you gotten any action? I'm getting it right now. Oh,
I had to, it was so disgusting, I had to cut it off. But he's here with Perez Hilton, and they are saying, I'm not even going to play the audio, but they're saying that they worship Satan. They saying it clearly. Now, thoughts, camera. Yes, I don't even want to play it. I don't even want to play it. I got it on private, though. I got all these videos on private because you got to understand, they started coming at my channel. my channels. And this ended up being the first channel after me being here over 10 years, and I lost my channel. So I was like, when I came back now, you know what? I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to get it monetized. I've been here for years, didn't have my channel monetized. And when I saw how, things were blowing up on this channel, so I got it, the first channel I got monetized. I was like, I'll be doggone if I'm here all these years and I ain't taking full advantage of YouTube, even though they've been taking advantage of us for years. And I know I pulled in, yes, over 1 million views in YouTube with the videos that I had, and I never got it monetized, never got nothing from it. So, but that didn't last long. They came with strike after strike after strike on this channel. In fact, I had 3 strikes within 1 week. I had 3 strikes on this channel. Only reason this channel wasn't totally removed was because before the 3rd strike hit, I was able to dispute only one of them. And so what I ended up doing, I just put most of the videos on private, just like over here, now that I got my original channel back. Because I didn't want to lose. I really didn't want to lose this here channel that I established after losing my original channel. Yeah, you remember that? Oh, yeah. So this video now, as you can see, it's on private. But, just like most of the videos on this channel that I did, which was my original channel, which I was able to get back years later, and not by my own means, by the way. Just most of the stuff is on private. Yeah, because they would just, it's like they were just looking for stuff on my channel. And this ain't had nothing to do with Tommy Sotomayor this time. This ain't had, I just a couple of months ago lost another channel. This had nothing to do with Tommy. Now, what am I doing and saying that's that damn controversial? But yeah, he's in here with Perez Hilton saying it. I'm not going to play it because it was just too demonic. But they got together. But, they're just joking, right? No, you don't joke like that. This Perez, but now all of a sudden he's reading from the scriptures. But it's not so much, okay, if that's his lifestyle, that's his lifestyle. Like you see here, well, sorry, that blurred image. Paris, him bloody. But Perez Hilton defined gossip in the early internet era, becoming one of the most influential and controversial bloggers of the 2000s. After a disturbing TikTok live stream led to his hospitalization, many younger viewers are asking the same question. Who is Perez Hilton, and why has this story made headlines around the world? If you are someone you know is struggling or experiencing a mental health crisis, please know that help is available. Reaching out to a trusted friend, family member, or mental health professional can make a real difference. So yeah, what's really going on with Perez Hilton? But I never really was feeling him. For one, I remember also, he was one of the evils of social media. And I remember when Michael Jackson passed away in 2000, and June 25th, 2009, when we got the news that he was found deceased. You know what I believe about that, but yeah, I remember this. I was in the message forum. I had already by that time had my initial YouTube videos, but I was still more so in the message forum. And I remember when it says here at sfgate.com. Oh, goodness gracious, I don't want to see this ad. Just days after his feud with the Black Eyed Peas, Perez Hilton has found himself on the defensive again, this time for posting on his website about Michael Jackson. After the first reports about Jackson's failing health, Hilton wrote that he doubted Jackson had gone into cardiac arrest. In a post that has since been removed from PerezHilton.com, the celebrity blogger speculated that Jackson was pulling a stunt to get out of his upcoming concerts in London. His skepticism, of course, proved unfounded, and many have called for a boycott of the blogger. Hundreds of users on Twitter have urged others to unfollow him on the microblogging service. Hilton, real name Mario Lavandeira, didn't return emails requesting comment. Hilton retweeted many times about the situation, saying that he was owning up to his mistake and that he was genuinely feeling sorry that he had died and sorry for his kids. Yeah, and I remember, if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. But And it's funny if people were to say with what's going on right now. I mean, no, it wouldn't be funny, but it would be rather insensitive if people felt that this was just a publicity stunt or something like that. But I know that he had, this isn't the only. He's been very. I mean, if this is what you believe, this is what you believe.
I'm gonna say it. I always thought Michael Jackson was inappropriate with young boys.
Yeah, I mean, if that's his belief, he has a right to his belief. But he is one of those. See, like him, like Wendy Williams. I remember that my early days in the message forum community. That's when I first really learned about Wendy Williams. To be honest, and this was before she had a talk show and everything. I didn't know about her auditioning to be the original Spinderella. Thank goodness. That didn't happen. But yeah, with the group Salt and Pepper. But I remember in the early days of me being in the message forums and the black, the black message forums like BED.com and stuff, and they all have black voices. And I remember when people were talking about this Wendy Williams. Now I had never heard of her before. And this is the early 2000s when people were like talking about her more so. And it was like she was like this black female equivalent to Howard Stern. I already didn't like Robin Quivers. I can't stand Robin Quivers. Okay, cannot stand. That's why I do feel like this stuff on Oprah. Oprah ain't compared to some of these people. Compared to people like Robin Quivers and Wendy, I can't. Those were sisters. I can't stand them too. I'm sorry. And the thing is, my daughter kind of liked Wendy Williams. But see, I don't think my daughter really knew. She just know the Wendy Williams that was on the talk show and stuff. And I'm like, but I remember when people were talking about she had like this podcast or radio show or whatever it was back then in the early 2000s. And I think she was with Charlemagne the Fraud. And they were saying like, I just never heard the black, of course, there's black people who gossip and stuff. But she was like I remember they had that CETA. Do y'all remember that little like computer image that was on BET CETA? And some people thought that was cute. She was kind of gossip, kind of like the stereotype hosting BET videos and stuff. But yeah, the stuff I had heard that people were talking about in the message form, like she was saying things, just really mean things to people she interviewed, or it was, and the gossip she would spread, and it was like beyond tabloid. Like it was like mean. It was very mean. And we've had people, journalists, interviewers, and some people that could be mean. But now we had even gone beyond even the Jerry Springers, because we got the Howard Sterns. We'll come to find out we've been at. I didn't know how far back Howard Stern with his evil, going as far back as the 80s. I mean, I knew of him, but I ain't know, because it ain't like I listened to, when I began to know of Howard Stern, that was more so in the 90s. But I didn't know what he had back in the 80s even. And oh yeah, he's another one. He got, I'm telling you, I know I'm not God. I know that I'm not our Heavenly Father, but it's like some of these people, they got to get theirs. Because I didn't know, I had watched the special. I just didn't know how bad. It was a man who lost his wife or something like that. And Howard Stern, I didn't know he was that. I know he was, what I totally lost respect. Definitely, it was already the racist stuff, and he was able to get away with and on television. But then with the whole thing with the death of from Different Strokes, Dana Plato played Kimberly on Different Strokes, and I don't care what anybody say, and even if it wasn't directly him, his audience, you can't tell me that was an accidental OD with her. Okay. You can't tell me she wanted to go. They triggered, they poked at that girl on that. I don't know why she even got on Howard Stern. Okay. Yeah, so you got this Wendy Williams, and see, that's the thing. Our people, there were just certain things we don't joke about. But now, we're so desensitized. Yeah, but they were saying, Wendy Williams saying things like, we said that Selena Williams coochie stink. Just ignorant, unnecessary. We've all listened to some celebrity gossip, but this was just to a point, and then see, back then certain things might have outraged us, but now we've gotten so sensitive. These are the things also I don't like with social media, because you see how people are so insensitive now. Now they want us to be sensitive, like Perez Hilton, and they'll put a unaliving yourself hotline thing or something like that. But they've desensitized these younger people, and people my generation too, to the point where we're just saying things like, well, you might as well go jump, go. This is a phrase saying unalive yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Kill yourself. Like just saying that like it ain't no thing. Telling people to, you understand what I'm saying? And then Tommy, why do you think I had to, when Tommy Sotomayor, that was on a whole nother level. I couldn't even grasp that. And he would come up in here right after, like when Karen Washington took her own life, and him coming up in here and just using, it's like anytime, and that's what I understand, Reese, that's what that guy, let's not say his name, is doing on Betty Shabazz. Anytime there were certain people, like if a black woman getting any sort of sympathy, or if that's what O'Shea Duke Jackson was doing with Corinne Gaines. Before y'all feel sorry for this black bitch, let me see if I can, that like what he did with Kanika Jenkins. What that girl do to him? See, that's what did Corinne Gaines do to O'Shea Duke Jackson? He is wicked. He is wicked. He has no conscience. I couldn't do that. Despite what Chris Obomaselli or whatever said about black, I could not do that. That's not in me. Okay, yeah, maybe some things need to be pointed out, that the grass ain't green on this, but I can't do the way that these people are doing. Even when they're talking about, they're talking about swirlers, male or female, and people kind of celebrating them being like Cynthia G. Oh, now Kobe Bryant is worm food, maggot food. These people are wicked, wicked. Do you hear me? And I didn't know just how bad Howard Stern was. I knew he was bad. But I didn't know. Yeah, I watched some special. I said, no wonder there's a lot of guys in my generation. No wonder. Like, that's why I never liked the whole Eminem Slim Shady, showing him spitting in people's fries and people thinking that's funny. It's I'm sorry. And then now you see this same weirdness and desensitivity. It was bad enough. Because even when you think with NWA, straight out of Compton, a brother that'll smother your mother and make your sister think I love her. When do we talk like that? When you consider Ghetto Boys, Mind of a Lunatic. You know what I'm saying? And then now we get to the point where we're playing with the devil. All this stuff. But it's cool. Lil Uzi Vert. It's cool. You got a rapper on what's that vampire? Vladimir the Vampire, Vlad TV, trying to promote Lucifer and all that. Like, what the hell? What going to hell is this? But anyways, getting back on, see, this is, I'm telling you, we got these witches, warlocks, Satanists, demonic. You can't tell me. And so getting back on Perez Hilton, because I had watched this not that long ago. A couple months ago, I discovered this video here. I think I talked about it to y'all. I discovered this and I watched it. And it was called, even though people saying that they felt that he should change the title, Hollywood Babylon, Fire Crotch. And so I was interested. I was like, I remember this when this was all in the tabloids. Now, I know that I've talked about how, the 2000s seemed like a bad time to be a black woman, because it seemed like black women so very targeted in the 2000s. Not saying that the 90s was so much better, but it does make the 90s look really good when especially when I consider how things got by the time of 2000, like from 2005 to 2015. It was really like a field day on black women. And they had every excuse in the book, whether it was an Oprah excuse or whatever. But I have my own little theories behind that. But social media was definitely, a lot of social media used to go at black women. And then also there was a period, definitely where just stop seeing black women as love interests or just in film, unlike what you thought you were beginning to see in the 90s, you know? But it's like black women being replaced. But so I felt it definitely a bad time to be a black woman. But then when I think about it, yeah, and especially the time with the Perez Hiltons and Lindsay Lohans, and it was like it was the 2000, the white girl comeback. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have to look like Pamela Anderson necessarily in the 90s. You understand what I'm saying? But I've talked about that. Like, and I did my series, the downfall, what could be seen as, let's say, the downfall of white women. Since we talk about the downfall of black women or dark skin, I said, was there ever, like, can we say, like, media, like a kind of bad period for white women? And that video I did originally got a whole lot of views. And I was surprised to see a lot of white men coming in there, comment in my comment section, kind of co-signing the points that I was making. And I was kind of focused a little more on what I was witnessing in white women in the 90s. And it was kind of like the white girl had to kind of come back by the late 90s into the 2000s. Maybe I'll re-upload that. But yeah, but when I think about it, I didn't realize it, even though it does seem like in the 2000s, it seemed like, white girls had their little time, especially if they were blonde, like the Perez Hiltons and the Britney Spears. But now when I really think about it, it wasn't so easy for them, and I'm watching this kind of, in a way, maybe it was good that we weren't in the spotlight like that. Because even with the black women that did get the spotlight, because I do remember, at least in social media, Beyonce being, kind of attacked in black social media. I don't think it was for the reasons necessarily that Tariq Nasheed would say, because it was also black males that had an issue with Beyonce. But they didn't have this issue. You didn't hear this with other, like Aaliyah. So why was it Beyonce? I think that had more to do with the whole thing. It may have had to do with the Destiny's Child, or the whole thing, with people upset thinking that she got this favoritism over the other members or whatever it was, yeah. And that was more so, it seemed, sad to say, people of my generation for whatever reason, whereas it seemed like I don't think the same animosity came from millennials like that. I think they had more of a love for Beyonce. Now, I wasn't one of them contributing and all that. I've had my criticism. Don't talk about Beyonce in front of gay men. I did that in fashion design. It was just one little thing, because I usually would defend Beyonce, but it was one little thing I said in critiquing. They nearly cut my head off, coming for the queen bee. And I'm back in college with these millennials. But nah, I did witness this online, now that we got the internet and see, so who knows, maybe if we did have the internet, back in more so in the 90s social media, maybe I would have seen, with these other artists. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, but it did, in a way, now when I think about it after watching this, maybe it was good that we weren't in the limelight. But it did seem like the only time you saw a black woman, like in television, film, it was like either on these reality shows being some stereotype, whether it's a Jezebel stereotype or a Sapphire stereotype, or a combination, or even a Mammy stereotype, or you had movies like Precious. At the same time, you got The Blind Side, making the white mother look like the more ideal mother. She's a better mother to, and even though this guy isn't even our own son, but now we know the story with The Blind Side. But at the same time the Blind Side was released, you got Precious showing the black mother who's a demon. So even now the black mother is demonized, who was once beloved, supposedly. Everything, yeah. Or you would see her in a Tyler Perry movie, like a victim, or you know what I'm saying? That's all you were able to see of black women now. And I've talked about this. But I realized that, it wasn't so easy for white women, even though it seemed like. But now when I think about it, and it's not about me, I'm not here to be defending white women, but it is the motherly, womanly instinct in me to, defend all, I don't want to see anybody being unfairly jumped on. And I always did feel for kind of Lindsay Lohan. I know that she did this little stunt where, where this black guy driving the car and she tried to put it, but I always kind of felt for her. I always felt she was very talented. And I always kind of felt, I like Lindsay Lohan, I liked it. And it just seemed like soon as she was rising, but we know to deal with a lot of these child stars, especially if they're affiliated with Disney. So I watched this here, Hollywood Babylon, Firecrotch, and like, wow, oh yeah, what's that guy? There was a clip here with that one. What's that? This interview here is creepy. What's this actor? Yeah, he said some creepy stuff to her. I don't want to focus. Let me not focus on that. That one black dude that was in Blackish. But yeah, Perez Hilton. Okay, let me speed this up a little. Make sure it's sped up. I'm gonna play a little bit of this on Perez Hilton.
I've been bad. So bad. Ah. That's not hard enough. I like it harder. I want blood.
In 2004, a 24-year-old freelance writer and one-time Hollywood hopeful named Mario Lavandera had taken up blogging about show business. He developed an online persona that drew heavily on Paris Hilton's over-the-top caricature, adopting her camp aesthetic and crass vulgarity to his own queer flamboyance.
And I love...
And understand, even though I may care a little, I feel a little for Lindsay Lohan, I don't give two squats for Paris Hilton. Yeah, I said it. I don't give two squats for Paris Hilton, okay? Yeah, I remember the video. I remember I shared with y'all the video where she's at the club. Even though I do believe she's a little monarch too, but we're like two niggers, when she, in the video and she's saying all the racist stuff while listening to black music. So I don't give two craps. And the way that, even watching this, it's almost like they're trying to get you to kind of have a little sympathy for, we've all had, she went to a bad mean school or whatever. Yeah, whatever. But she was still, even with the whole thing with Lindsay Lohan, all right, she was very mean. Okay, I'm not going to blame just that guy that she was with, the one that was talking to Firecrotch. I remember that. Paris Hilton was a very mean girl. She was the real Regina George. I could have some sympathy for Regina George character over her. Paris Hilton, I don't give a damn what anybody say. She was a mean ass girl. All right. Even in with her little friendship with Lindsay Lohan, she was a mean ass girl. So I'm not gonna, because it does kind of seem like this video makes a little kind of, trying to get us to understand what Paris Hilton and, she may have been in a sense targeted unfairly to some degree, but at the same time, I do feel like she kind of liked that attention. That's just my opinion. I know that she's trying to redeem herself now in her image, but I'm sorry, I feel nothing. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, I'm not even familiar with Misha Barton like that. I know who that is, but I don't know who that is at the same time. How you doing, Antoine Grady? True Seeker 24.
About show business. He developed an online persona that drew heavily on Paris Hilton's over-the-top caricature, adopting her camp aesthetic and crass vulgarity to his own queer flamboyance.
And I love to be the first to report a story or to break a story. And I love when people email me and they're like, I knew when I'd go to your website that I'd find that information there first. So when it's not first on my site, it's like, oh, I know it kills me.
It's recording.
Hey everybody, it's Perez. You will never believe this. The biggest media whore on the planet, Michael Lohan, called me. Actually, he's on the phone right now, on hold, on mute. We're going to talk to him.
Him, he got a t-shirt, Dirty Saves. You got a question, even with the colorful hair, it makes me wonder, are some of these people like monarch plants? Remember we talked about the, now I had my hair colored blue, I had blue in my hair, when I was in my 30s. But when we're talking about Hollywood, like we wonder why we got a lot of these female rappers that got pink wigs, and we think it's just about them being stylish, creative, and maybe it is in some cases, but it also signals something else. Even like with the blonde platinum hair, it can also signal something else. But look at him; he's going as far, he's contacting people, family members, all this.
We're gonna talk to him. Biggest media whore.
Don't be wrong, because there are some of these people, like when I talk about the exoticals, especially when you're pushing false narratives up in here that can be harmful. Their asses need to be exposed. But this is just merely for gossip. There's nothing
on the planet. Michael Lohan called me. Actually, he's on the phone right now, on hold, on mute. We're gonna talk to him. Hello? Hello? Yes? Hey, how are you?
So he's calling Lindsay Lohan's dad.
Traffic for PerezHilton.com exploded in 2005 after he was the first to post photos of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie together as a couple.
Now, you got this website. It started as a little thing that you did on your own, and it became this huge thing that, I mean, really, like everybody, Brian Williams from NBC News was saying he checks
On this show.
regularly. Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would imagine it's pretty awesome and also maybe a little disturbing.
Disturbing maybe to some celebrities, but I think a lot of the readers enjoy it and they keep coming back. And I get about 7 million people a day reading my website.
If people don't know, if they've not seen it, what Perez does, and I'm assuming that's not your real name, is he draws penises on people's faces.
You can interpret it as a penis.
At the time, the tabloid still considered magazines to be their main product. When sales had started to dip in the 90s, the industry did not recognize the web as a threat. Instead, the Enquirer and its cohorts began running weekly editions in hopes of boosting volume and reader attention.
Yeah, this is actually what, eventually people weren't getting the magazines no more. It all became about, because it used to be, my mama for years used to get Enquirer and Star magazine. And like I said, I myself, when I became an adult, I was getting these magazines too. And then around the time of Princess Di's death, I kind of felt bad, because of what we were made to initially believe, that the paparazzi had something to do with her accident, even though I know better now. But yeah. But this is what, because I remember even like, what was it, Star magazine, they would have what they're wearing and it'd be Joan Rivers or whoever, the celebrity, and I used to like that, like who's, how people are dressed, who's dressed bad, who's dressed good. And I remember in the 80s and into the 90s, the most featured person was Princess Diana. Any little thing she did, the royal family, Fergie, all of them, it was in Star Enquirer magazine. They say, remember when Angelina Jolie got $4 million for Charlotte's first baby photos? Oh, I don't remember that. probably around that time, because there was a point where I stopped and I just stuck with my hair magazines and books. Yeah, and I got more into, like Dick Gregory and stuff like that. But after Princess Di's death, I think we all were kind of, to some degree, even though with most people, it didn't last long. They were right back in the tabloids. We all have listened to, participated, if you will, in some sort of celebrity gossip, whether it was reading, watching, it could even just like with the Entertainment Tonight or something like that.
The demand for content to fill pages necessitated exaggerating and manufacturing content. As the Enquirer sales had started to dip in the 90s, the industry did not recognize the web as a threat. Instead, the Enquirer and its cohorts began running weekly editions in hopes of boosting volume and reader attention. The demand for content to fill pages necessitated exaggerating and manufacturing controversy, conflict, and drama. Perez Hilton was able to combine the immediacy of an online platform with public appetite for parasocial voyeurism in a way that proved to be popular. He was also able to put snarky, unsubstantiated innuendo and shock above journalistic integrity far more efficiently than the burnouts at Us Weekly.
Look how dilated his pupils are. Why would his pupils be that damn dilated? And I always looked at like, this guy is, I'm sorry, I know I'm being mean and this shouldn't matter. I was like, this guy is so, I'm sorry, I gotta say, just one of these unattractive guys that, so what I figured, okay, this is an unattractive guy who's got to his hair. He feels like, okay, he's gonna try to get you to overlook how unattractive he is. And, he was rather overweight then. He's gonna get you to overlook his unattractive. I'm gonna dye my hair a certain color, to get you overlook. And I'm gonna look as eccentric as possible to get you to overlook that I'm naturally unattractive. I know I'm being mean here, but it's easy for me here. Okay, let me stop. Because I don't like him. I don't like him because he's very mean and I don't like mean people. Okay. Otherwise, it's just when you act mean, it's like you just see things. Every little flaw, it becomes more evident. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing when the person is beautiful, when they act beautiful, really things like the gap tooth, crooked tooth, it becomes cute to you when they act beautiful. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to, I pray before you come in here because I know this is a sensitive thing. If you tried to, but still, this guy has been so mean. And so do you think he would give a doggone if he calls let's say a person's unaliving, even if we're talking about a celebrity, we still got to remember they're still human. They're still people. He is one of those who would provoke like a Dana Plato or and you got to remember he wanted to talk about Michael Jackson inappropriate with kids. He was talking about these because I do believe that, like in the case of Lindsay Lohan, she was still a kid with all that he was doing. But now I realize this ain't just about him being flawed. I believe this guy was, now I believe perhaps in M. Gay Ultra, as Azur say, plant himself.
He enjoyed outing men he believed to be gay.
So you right now is a really sort of a big time for you because of the outing situation with Doogie Howser, etc.
Well, the new word is lanced.
Lanced.
I lanced Doogie Howser. I don't use the word outing because it's not part of my vocabulary. I report it.
Yeah.
Really, that's how I treat it. I report on the private lives of public people, gay or straight, closeted or not.
Is that true, the rumor that you were gay?
Ask Clay Aiken. I'm sitting on the chair where the Aiken sat.
Oh, now.
But he saved most of his venom for females, ruthlessly mocking them for their appearance, body size, and perceived promiscuity.
So you say most of it for females, but they are friends, right?
Photos often included penises and jizz, crudely drawn over subjects with MS paint. He also saw potential problems with substance abuse and eating disorders as fair game for ridicule.
Now you gave that nickname, and I'm sure Clay doesn't appreciate the nickname, but you have.
But he saved most of his venom for females, ruthlessly mocking them for their appearance, body size, and perceived promiscuity. Photos often included penises and jizz, crudely drawn over subjects with MS paint. He also saw potential problems with substance abuse and eating disorders as fair game for ridicule.
Now you gave that nickname, and I'm sure Clay doesn't appreciate the nickname, but you have nicknames for a lot of celebrities. Let's go.
Yeah, he sure did. He bullied Britney Spears too, and I do believe that some of these celebrities were still legally children.
Some of them, you tell me what their nicknames are, right?
Okay.
Jessica Simpson, you call
Jugs.
Britney Spears is
She's a hot mess.
hot mess.
And I call her a lot of other things.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kiki Drunkst.
These are very clever. You should write for Mad Magazine. Sienna Miller is
Slutty Anna.
Victoria Beckham is
I like to call her an alien or sometimes a robot with really big boobs.
and Misha Barton, you call
Mushy Fart One.
And why
I'm just having fun.
Cool. He's got a picture of me making myself barf while Perez Hilton.
It's just having fun. But and yo, I'm not gonna act like I'm totally innocent. We've all had a laugh at a celebrity or something, but this was his life.
I'm just having fun.
Cool. He's got a picture of me making myself barf while Perez holds my hair.
No, Nicole. Most people think eating and throwing up is a bad thing.
Really? But it's such a nice way to cleanse.
Oh, Spud, she's got a shot of Mary Kate and I having a three-way with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenboner. Oh, that's rich.
Perez is our friend. How does he get away with ratting us out over and over again?
I know. So I farted on Dakota Fanning's head, held her down, and made her smell it. Is that like weird or something? Fart City. You gotta give it to him. His captions are genius.
I'll just keep brainwashing the superficials until I'm the biggest gossip columnist in the world. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Perez. See you at Hyde next week.
What would be your ideal if you could get one photograph? What would that photograph be? Have you thought about this?
Oh, God. Ooh. It's kind of, I'm going to hell. I know that, but I would love to see a picture of Britney Spears smoking crack. That would be a good one. Can you imagine?
You heard him. He said, "I'm going to hell." I don't.
Oh, God. Ooh. It's kind of, I'm going to hell. I know that, but I would love to see a picture of Britney Spears smoking crack. That would be a good one. Can you imagine lighting up the crack pipe or maybe like shooting heroin? It would explain so much.
One of Perez's favorite targets in particular.
Why would you want to see somebody, especially considering, because I know he's older than, I'm assuming. Why would you be with a young artist? I know that these are celebrities and we ain't supposed to care about celebrity, but still a young person, a young artist, why would you want to see them shooting up heroin and that just and that's funny and just why would you want to see that when that leads to when you think of all of the young celebrities who have passed away, like the Frankie Lymans, and why would you be okay with that? That's serious. And especially when I lost my sister to a drug overdose, supposedly. Well, that's what we told. You know, why would you want to see that? You know, that this that what is fun and what is, you know what I'm saying? Right, the ugliest people always calling somebody, okay.
Was Britney Spears.
Explain so much.
One of Perez's favorite targets in particular was Britney Spears.
Britney, leave me alone, Britney. I'm really tired of having to write about you because you're not making a contribution to society anymore, Britney. Britney, you're no talent hack now. You were good once in the day, but now you just sell magazine covers. And
we all saw that look at his demonic eyes. We all saw that leave Britney alone. Those were the early days of YouTube, and you know, we all laughed at it because it was that guy, like he was so over the top. But in all too, when you think about it, yeah, it was vicious. I never really had a problem. I just didn't feel that Britney, you know, was all that. She was a great entertainer, I think, but you know, I just wasn't really. I didn't know my niece was so into her. Yeah, and I saw, you know, the deal. I do feel like she was like this kind of answer to like the Brandy, and you understand, like a white answer. But it was never a thing of me being like, I never had no hate or anything like that against Britney Spears. Yeah, I do believe that some of these artists, and I saw where she kind of was biting off of like the Aaliyah, the snake thing, and not saying that that's something we should be copying now, dancing with a snake, a serpent. But I saw little things. But I also, at the same time, I understand that it's not about the young artists. It's about the industry. They're just going along. Just like with Milli Vanilli. They're going along. These are young people. They're going along with the industry, you know, these puppet masters of the industry. And I'm not saying that they don't have any personal responsibility, whatever. But you understand what I'm saying. I've never had no animosity in Britney Spears. And I do feel that a lot of that went way too far. Like, I may make my point on how they are, you know, these white answers to, like, let's say black R&B pop stars and stuff, and you know, but that's not to target the artist. Like I Taylor Swift is very obvious, like she's like kind of like this answer in a sense to Beyonce, and she's now supposedly surpassed Beyonce in success. But I don't have really anything against Taylor Swift, the artist, you know, but it is interesting how she started off like this country music darling. I think that whole thing with Kanye West coming at her, I think that was set up to, you know what I'm saying, put her more so in the spotlight, have America embrace her. But then next thing you know, you see her, she starts off doing country music. But then next thing you know, she's doing videos with, her thighs are showing like Beyonce, and she's got, you know, little hip hop vibes, you know. So I know what's up with the industry. So it's not so much about me having something personally against Taylor Swift. But what good would it be for me, regardless? Like, I can make my point on what I believe the industry is doing with these artists, but why would I be just continuously bashing the artists? Especially, like, I didn't like when Ice-T's old ass, I'm sorry, when he came at Soulja Boy, and even I wasn't really feeling Soulja Boy initially. I wasn't, you know, I like, some people question about doing it, and these are the times like people really like, why is this song blowing up and getting all this attention? People really like this now, you know. And then I remember my niece was my oldest. It's like, it's a different generation now. Like, she was like checking me on, like I need to get with it or whatever. I was like, okay, all right. But yeah, but I still didn't approve of the way that Ice-T came at Soulja Boy and Hurricane Chris. No, did I like that stuff? No, I'm a different generation. I understand we talking about, well, this, if you just say this song is whack and this, that, but then him coming at saying that they single-handedly destroyed hip-hop. I'm like, and the way he came in and had everybody else coming at him and telling these young men to, you know, and telling Soulja Boy to eat a DICK. You are older than me, a generation before me, and you're telling, I didn't like that at all. And I was glad when Soulja Boy did the little response, putting his old ass, and I'm gonna say old ass, even if I'm old, you know, I'm glad he put him in check. It's like, how you gonna come after these boys but not the industry? Oh, wait, because you're a part of the industry. You know, Mr. Cop, Killer. Remember this, you know? Trust me, what the music he done and contributed to way more damaging. Yeah, I know I'm not supposed to diss a legend. than anything any nonsense that Soulja Boy or Hurricane Chris done. And that's what's also tripping. Same time you had a song, Shake That Lefty Taffy. I'm like, that's 10 times worse. But now, you know, it's easy to just come after these artists and not the industry. Oh, you know how I feel about Eminem. But yeah, that's the thing. What's the point of just, why would I be going after just like Lindsay Lohan? Or even if I make a point on how somebody like a Britney Spears being an answer to like Brandy and this and that, I still, you know, that's still a kid. That's still, you ain't seen me do a whole bunch of videos. Like this dude just like, he wants to destroy because he wants to be Britney Spears. That's all that is. He's jealous of these females. That's at the same time they'll be talking about these females, but he's probably when the cameras are off, he's probably in the damn mirror trying to dress like and imitate her toxic video or something. That's all it is.
People buy them. Why do we buy them? Brittany?
Yeah, because this didn't make no sense. This did not make no sense. The way that they, and just Britney Spears, like, because I'm like, this is still a kid, y'all. To the point where she just shaves her head, and and we now knowing what we know, that Britney was obviously a monarch. Some of these people have been since they were, I think, young children. And I believe some of them may have themselves been, molested. Like we're finding out things even more so with Aaliyah. And I mean,
leave me alone, Brittany. I'm really tired of having to write about you because you're not making a contribution to society anymore, Brittany. Brittany, you're no talent hat now. You were good once in a day, but now you just sell magazine covers and people buy them. Why do we buy them? Why are we so fascinated by you, Brittany? You're so insecure with yourself.
There is no way I could be a celebrity today or in the 2000s. There is no way. And you got to understand, this guy got millions of followers. And she's saying this. She was saying this. There is no way. At least, back in the day, celebrities had some sort of privacy. But this is, we had our tabloid magazine, but the way that it's become since social media, and this is what desensitized people to people's lives. This is it desensitized. I'm telling you, this is what desensitized people to people's lives. This is, you are a grown ass man. Like, this don't make no sense. Yeah, and so when me watching, I was like, damn, this is messed up.
Because you're not making a contribution to society anymore, Brittany. Brittany, you're no talent hat now. You were good once in a day, but now you just sell magazine covers and people buy them. Why do we buy them? Why are we so fascinated by you, Brittany? You're so insecure with yourself.
Yeah, like I'm witnessing this despite my feelings on the whole promotion of Nicolandria, and I know what's up. But I can't help but feel like, even like with this Alondra, there's no way I would want to be famous in the spot. That's why I was like, I'm glad. I mean, I'm not saying I'd want to see, let's say, if people are really in love or whatever, I know better. And I'm not saying that they can't be attracted, that Nick ain't, that's not the point I'm making. That, he can't be attracted. Alondra is a beautiful woman. But I'm glad she's free. I mean, but I know she ain't free, It's like, there's no way I would want to be, because you see how people just trying to come at her, just when she was on that show, there's no way I could be, ain't no way. Why do you think a lot of these celebrities, they're trying to become part, they want to make the money, but that's why there's no way. When the spotlight, it was bad back in the day, like in the 80s with the paparazzi and cameras, but at least it took time to set up a camera. Where now everybody got a phone, everybody got this is terrible. And this is also what our kids going through, where everything can be recorded. If you get in the after, like when I was a kid getting to school, the fight after school, I can't imagine if every fight that we got in got recorded. and then upload it for thousands to see. This is like with the world star hip hop. This is the stuff with social media that I hate, y'all.
Once in a day, but now you just sell magazine covers and people buy them. Why do we buy them? Why are we so fascinated by you, Brittany? You're so insecure with yourself. You need to.
This is pushing people to unalive themselves. And see, now look at him. This is pushing people, pushing buttons, and you know people are going to be curious when they believe they're talked about. And this guy had a big following, has a big following.
Just go away for a really long. You, Brittany, you're so insecure with yourself. You need to just go away for a really long time.
Perez, I wanted to ask you about the comments on TMZ, which have been
You need to just go away a really long time. Why would you say that to somebody? And somebody so young. So what if she, after listening to that video, she went away, and she took your advice and went away, if you will, for a very long time. If you know what I'm saying. You see, it's just, you think they don't know what they're saying? You think they don't know what they're doing? Yeah, he is a total freaking weirdo.
Perez, I wanted to ask you about the comments on TMZ, which have been just incredibly harsh toward you in many cases. May I read them? Because I'm just wondering how you react to that. Perez is just an oversized human condom. Perez is like a fart in a mitten. You know it's there, you can't stand it, but you can't get rid of it. Would you please drop over dead or commit suicide, you damn slut? Is this stuff?
Oh my gosh. And I don't like Perez Hilton at all. But yeah, stuff like that. That is some straight, like when we talk about mind control and how it works and, trauma-based mind control and stuff, that would totally desensitize you. That would totally desensitize. I know just from what I dealt with in social media. But if you thousands of people hearing that, saying that, reading that.
Make you cry? Does it upset you to the point where you just lose it?
How's it going, guys?
We don't care. What? And she's got a fire crotch that all you guys would of course suck because you're f***ing desperate. Guys, what's up? We think she's a fire crotch. Or we know.
Are we going to the parking lot or are we going?
I mean, we don't.
Jumping to this. This is what I can't feel sorry for. I remember this. I was like, okay, this shit is mean, I remember this, the whole fire crotch.
I don't think that we know it's obvious. Red pubic hair comes from inside her. She's like an orange tree.
Excuse me.
But you guys care about her. The truth is,
he's just laughing and giggling, and it was believed that she told him to say that while he's talking about her, mocking her vagina, her femininity.
her movie bombed, and her is orange. All right, that's all I have to say. Nobody would f her with the 10-foot pole. I wouldn't f her. I wouldn't f her with my shrink.
It's our last word, okay?
That's why, like with the Exoticals United, I would have let that go with her, just silly girl talk. But when I saw that, who was it, Chrissy, regardless of whether I agree or disagree with Chrissy on everything, but when it was shown that she was co-signing this guy that was in YouTube who would make these videos, I remember because he came to my channel before, and he would make these videos where he was like, he's really trying to push the button, like, I'm going to take it even further than Tommy Sotomayor. And he would like play audio of what sound like a black woman being choked to death and stuff and gurgling her blood or whatever. And he would be laughing and stuff like that. And they allowed this to go on for a minute in YouTube. This was a couple years ago. And to know that when she showed in one of those very videos, oh yeah, and also, yeah, like if he felt like the female was in an interracial relationship, whatever was the case. And there was a video where it was a woman with kids, and he had F the kids too. The kids was unalived by, this was like a mixed looking woman, mixed with black, and had kids that were, multiracial or whatever. And her white guy unalived her and her kids, and he put on it, F the kids. I showed y'all this. He put F the kids that were also brutally unalive. And to know that, and I knew about this, yeah, to see that Exoticals United was in there. Oh, this guy is hilarious. And I said, okay, I give zero. Yeah, this bitch. Yeah, that's why I was like, after that, no. Because at first I was like, you know what, Ethan, I said what I need to say and what I believe on this chick, because she came, coming at me, my channel. But I saw that's when I really saw this is the one cold ass bitch. Perhaps even colder than, certain persons of the golden. That is one cold bitch. Oh, and she is black, by the way. Yeah. And, they was able to get my channel that, and trust me, if I want to do, I'll come back. You may think that I'm only reason because I could put all them videos right back up, but it's on the whole another channel, another account, everything. They think they got me, but I don't care to, because if the Most High is telling me to move on from it, I got to listen if I'm getting that message. But y'all, I'm telling you, it's going to be a reckoning. I definitely, you can't tell me. I know I'm not the Most High Yah, but for all of y'all demonic, sick, evil people.
Hey, we're gonna leave, but Lindsay Lohan is a fire crutch, and she has freckles coming out of her vagina.
And look at her. What's so funny? What's so? Look at her, and she's just laughing. That's disgusting. She's just laughing. What's the joke? What's the punchline? What's the joke?
And her clitoris is 7 feet long. Go. Now.
Jesus, Paris.
All right, Brady. We're gonna go.
That's what I'm sorry. That's what I got to point out too. I'm telling you, I know I shouldn't be bringing race, but these white men they could be. I'm telling you.
Where are you?
No, where?
25-year-old petroleum heir Brandon Davis was not a household name per se, but his presence as a somewhat brotherly protector figure around the elite party circuit in Hollywood made him a familiar face to the paparazzi. His novel euphemism for Lindsay's pubic hair quickly went viral, and overnight people wanted to know, who is this sweat-soaked douche?
Lindsay Lohan has got the stinkiest, fucking sweaty, orange vagina anyone has ever seen. I haven't seen it. Do you agree with him? But it has freckles, it's orange, and it smells like diarrhea.
Do you agree with him?
I really, because I don't know who this guy was, but after this, I really couldn't stand Perez Hilton. Now already, she had said something. They're like two NIGGERs while she dancing to 50 Cent in the club or something. Oh, I can't stand females like this. I really can't.
Vagina anyone has ever seen. I haven't seen it. Do you agree with him? But it has freckles, it's orange, and it smells like diarrhea.
Do you agree with him?
While laughing along uncontrollably, Paris appears to be coaching Brandon at several points in the footage.
It's quite a night, huh, Paris? Bye. Love you.
The fire crotch lives.
Paris, can I get a kiss?
The fire crotch lives, and the movie's bombed.
Paris, can you
Movie bombed.
Lindsay's movie bomb?
What's her name?
Who's movie bomb?
Fire crotch's movie bomb.
His half-hearted effort at improvisation seems to support the likelihood that fire crotch had been fed to him by Paris.
Fire crotch.
Fire crotch.
Fire.
I got you. Get in your car, and she's following you.
Fire.
Get in your car, she's gonna follow you out.
Let's go. Come on.
I love you.
Baby, go.
Also supporting the likelihood that Paris actively orchestrated the tirade is the tabloid framing of their feud as driven by Lindsay befriending Nicole Richie, and most recently, reportedly hooking up with unremarkable Trustafarian Stavros Niarchos, only days after he'd broken up with Paris.
It was reported that Paris told Lindsay, "Don't ever say you're my friend again." Then Paris went back to her house and actually screamed through her fence to Lindsay's friends that Lindsay better stay away from her.
Oh, wait, I'm not, I realize I'm getting into the tabloid stuff.
However much, if at all, these reports genuinely bothered Paris, the nastiness of the attack seemed as much in line with the backhanded terms of endearment that Paris had popularized.
Sexy, hot bitch. What?
Seriously playing into a tabloid narrative with a mean-spirited but superficial piece of Hollywood catfighting. The public quickly enough moved on to the next update on Michael Jackson's ongoing legal battles, and the episode would be largely forgotten.
Indeed, what do you have to answer to Paris comment?
Yeah, it's around the time. Yeah, they're just and social media, the whole and around this time too, I was in the message forums going crazy and defending Michael Jackson. Nobody hearing me though.
And the other night.
Between her career downturn and Dina's counterproductive efforts to mitigate it, it's unclear how Firecrotch affected Lindsay personally. The nature of the attack reflected society's permissive attitude towards dehumanizing and devaluing females for entertainment at the time. In this instance, Lindsay was degraded for her sexuality, her signature red hair, and her freckles. Qualities over which she had no control that nonetheless determined she was fundamentally unworthy of affection.
So you can, yeah. And as Black women, we definitely know, especially if you happen to be a darker skinned Black woman, things that you just got, just like, those encouraging this exotic channel, you know who you are, who high five that stuff, you know who you are, Now, if you don't agree with Alondra, you want to make a point on the promotion of swirling over interracial Black women, then I can understand you. But you're just talking about Alondra simply because she dark skinned, or it would be simply because you don't like her hair, her natural hair. You know what I'm talking about. And y'all, I see what's going on. You're high-fiving that channel, that AI channel. The bead files. Yeah. Stuff that's just our natural features. Talking about Black women and our hair, our natural hair. Not because has Alondra done anything to biracials or mixed women? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you're talking about her pink lip, the same lips they'll be inflating and trying to get, but.
And Lindsay had already seen this true Hollywood story before.
Today, Lindsay Lohan is part of a band of screen idols under 20.
I don't feel sorry for none of you. Now you want to cry about women being picked on. Get the hell out of here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kind of losing it a little bit. I'm just at a point I'm kind of fed up with certain things.
Story before.
Today, Lindsay Lohan is part of a band of screen idols under 20, playing to Hollywood's hottest new demographic, fans under 20. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were the first to figure out they can attract fans at a very young age who will stick with them as they grow up.
Well, what we've heard.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So when you consider that, because it was not that long after that, if you notice, just one bad thing after another with Lindsay Lohan. And when you watch this whole thing, it really is, it's really sad because we do still got a member. Now, I got to speak first and foremost for my own people, for my own sisters, because ain't nobody else thinking about us like that. But yeah, when you think about it, it was really, it wasn't the best time for these white females or any female when you think about it either. Wasn't a good time for people. It's really sad though when you kind of watch this and then we're wondering why these, then we come up in here all this. Then we're looking at people with the eating disorders. You're supporting these channels where you're calling females whales and all this kind of stuff. Yes, we do need to address the obesity issue. I have addressed what I disagree with the promotion of Lizzo and what she has been playing into. This idea of having us comfortable with being obese or it's one thing, if that's just your body, but if that's your size, that's your size, but don't have us, Lizzo is beautiful regardless, but it's not whatever may kill us. That's not beautiful. I don't want that to be. I know what they're doing with Lizzo. I know what's up. I'm not stupid. All right. They want us to be fat and happy and, but then, you know what I'm saying? I know what's up. So I will address what I do believe their Lizzo agenda is. And notice how now they flipped from promoting Lizzo to promoting Ozempic. See, going to these extremes. Whatever they want us to just inject ourselves. Notice how they're just all this talking us into injecting ourselves. They just want us to, whether it's for the HPV, virus, supposed to whatever. I gotta be careful talking about that too. But the same people will be mocking, or they will be encouraging people. And I know I'm not innocent because you see, I was about to lose it and go off on former fatsos like Perez Hilton. I know I've been ugly up in there myself a time or two, but that's usually only time you see me get ugly It's when I see ugly ass people. And I ain't talking about how you look. I usually don't give a damn about that. I've never been that type of person, but I just don't like me. I'm talking about the way you act. It make you ugly. You're ugly on the inside. You're ugly on the outside, and that's really true because it does make you look even more corroded on the outside. It's true. There's some truth to that. But yeah, I don't know what it is with these, like Perez, these former fatsos, and I'm gonna say it. I know I'm wrong, but like there's a couple in YouTube, there's a couple of them in YouTube thinking they now can come up in here and talk about whales and being highly critical. If you really want people to, see, I can't say that was me. I was, it was kind of the opposite with me. I was young, taunted for being skinny, and I'm not saying that was okay, skinny with a big head, and then just got big breasts overnight. So I know about body shaming. Trust me. I was a really, really skinny girl that all of a sudden, got breast assistance that just looked crazy, like a lollipop on a stick, and I eventually had breast reduction. So with me, it was kind of the opposite. But I noticed you had these people. You found out that once they really taunting. The females up in here really harsh taunting overweight women. And I guess you could say I have a sentiment when I think of my auntie and my uncle and stuff, And yeah, like when I tried to confront that one Visions of Age, and but I know that's also this is, you got these people, they just got this issue with women, and it's especially Black women, right? I know what's up. These people that's when they're supporting people like Tommy, I don't care how you try to show your happy family and all of that. I see the wickedness. I see that, you know what I'm saying? And then people like just probably, and then you find out they used to be obese themselves. And even with and I even tried to overlook it with the Minister of Wellness, but now he's shown his full colors. Because at first I was like, okay, tough love. And he went into talking how Kevin Samuels was right. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't agree with him on this, but I'm going to still try to support him. Maybe, I tried to tell myself, okay, well, he lost his father and everything. Obesity has something to do. So maybe that's why he's really serious and passionate. But then when I had to totally unsubscribe, like over a year ago, because it was somebody who had died. I guess they were on my 600-pound life or something. I don't know. But they had died. And the way he was talking about the person, this is after death, and making jokes. And it's like, okay, it looked like you're just trying to entertain your subscribers and calling it. Like, what if the person's kids come and see that? Because even with obesity, I know with my auntie, my late auntie and stuff, my uncle, I don't think we see it as a sickness or, with certain people. You never know. See, that person may have been in their obesity issues may have started from childhood. You don't know if these people may have been, abused as a child. Like, come to find out in the case of my auntie, you don't know what may have happened to them that initially led to them overeating. Yeah, he straight up flipped. It had me to the point I was crying. I ended up arguing my husband because I was so upset over it. I talked about it. Yeah, he didn't straight flip. You ain't even gotta look into it. He straight flip because it's demonic energy now coming. Yeah, he just like thoughts came at you. Now he's demonized, going against the Bible and stuff now. And at first, when he was going with that little mean behavior, at first I was like, okay, I could take it. It's tough love. We need to hear this, and especially considering that I had put on a great amount of weight, and definitely by 2022, feeling sorry for myself in the whole situation with my leg. And I felt I needed to hear. I even purchased this, and eventually start going to the gym and, yeah. So I felt it was necessary, and I am still grateful but all praise the Most High Yah. Even shared, gave, I would share his channel and gave one of the publications to my niece, and I purchased things that even though his stuff was expensive as hell. But then I noticed that things like with him and his wife, it seemed like after, I know it's a sensitive thing, but there was a tragedy that was experienced. And now his wife has a channel. My husband and I, we still try to follow her channel. But his wife, his former wife. Yeah, but he just was getting meaner and meaner. just meaner and meaner. At first, I was like, because even my niece is like, nah, she don't want to follow it because he too mean. But I was like, no, you got to understand that, you got to understand that, he like how, he lost someone close. If you lose someone close, you may be very passionate about certain things. But you know what? No, I'm not buying it now. But after the whole thing, yeah, because that was the thing. Funny thing, when he was married with his wife, he was saying that, he actually made a video against Kevin Samuels' rhetoric. But I still was like, okay, I'm gonna just overlook. I'm gonna just focus more so on the message, the overall message. I'm gonna overlook what and y'all remember like when he had lost his channel one time. You remember I was up here, and that makes me feel like a fool for even promoting. Yeah, he's bashing the Bible now. But I had already by that time unsubscribed from his channel. Because after that whole thing where it was a person from his... Because the thing is, okay, and see, it just seemed like he wanted to be funny. Like, wait a minute, a person just died here. And I'm not saying that, it's okay to talk about them while they're alive, what Tommy tried to claim. No. That's not the point. Like, what if their loved one sees, they're looking stuff on their parent, and they see something that your video... Like I don't understand that. No, he was, I guess you could say, Christian, and I think I learned about him through one of whether it was Watchman Reports, because he did seem like, just like with Thoughts Camera Action. But I see that we got plants and agents all around in every community, including the Israelite community. There are certain plants and agents. And do I believe it's a thing? Now, maybe he's just disgruntled over the relationship thing, but it just, maybe, but yeah, that's all. Look at the channel. It was before this. Let me unsubscribe because I can't have it. Yeah, he been bashing the Bible, but yet still using scriptures, just like our Thoughts Camera Action do. And in fact, he got a lot of wicked thumbnails and stuff, like really, really demonic looking. I overlooked the fact that, he used to be a cop. I once dated a cop in the 90s. He was a nice guy. I overlooked, even though some people would look at these things like where you were, stuff like that, and a suspicion. But now I'm beginning to wonder, because people just don't flip-flop like that. They just don't do that. Even with Thoughts Camera Action, you telling me you didn't, now all of a sudden you want to question Abraham and Isaac, and when he was going to sacrifice his son, now you want to question these things like you don't have an understanding. I was very hurt. My husband, I had to do a video, and I was very hurt by that, Okay, because I'm surprised you would have noticed it. You say you already unsubscribed. Yeah, it just, and like I said, don't nobody, come on, what, you think he had a spiritual awakening? It's telling me that you was meant to mislead all along. And it's not saying that it wasn't giving, and then it make you wonder what, since he's been in the African continent supposedly helping children and stuff, like now it's like, who are you really? I mean, I'm telling you, I'm gonna just tell you this, just like with O'Shea Duke Jackson, who are the hell are these people, for real? I'm gonna tell you, getting back to with this Perez Hilton, all of y'all, I'm telling you, no, I'm not the Most High, y'all, and who am I to try to call myself placing judgment on anybody? But I do believe that this person is fighting demons, and now you want to quote the scriptures and stuff. No, because it seems as if I do believe that with all of these people, like you see with what's happening with P. Diddy, Satan is going to come and he's going to collect. And if you think that, and I'm telling you, all of y'all that think you're living large, like you see O'Shea dancing with the money, and all of y'all, male and female, all of y'all See, I'm glad when I saw myself getting out of the Most High took care of me right away. When I, feel I'm gotten a little too ugly. Or even when I had lost my initial channel, because I already was getting the message, leave it alone, move on. Letting Tommy and Soto Nation, and I didn't take what the Most High was already telling me. Leave it alone, move on. But nah, I ain't gonna lie, I was at a certain point where now I'm letting my pride. Like, nah, he ain't gonna call himself doing 3 streams in a row on me, lying on me. And I already made the points I needed to make. It was like everything was trying to tell me to leave it alone. Like I couldn't upload the video I had made because I was like, oh, I'm finna put it all out there on Tommy. The Venture Cat, everything he into that y'all don't know, I was putting it all out there. But I kept having these problems uploading. I kept on, because it was like I was being told, let it go. Because I'd already said, that I was gonna refrain from doing these videos, and addressing this. I'd already said, I let somebody, rest in peace to that person, though, get to me talking about how you used to be a warrior and she let what he said get to me. Because when I had said, don't expect me to address Tommy, and, so guy and his creepy voice video saying like what happened to me, like I used to be a warrior, all because I said I'm done addressing, because it was time to move on and work on more Bible related videos and things like that, and I didn't follow what the Most High was telling me to do. I was because he was coming over to the black sector, and see, I was still affiliating with them, even though I knew I was supposed to let that go. And he was trying to get me to come on his show, and I was like, no. And he was pissed off, so he did like 3 streams in a row, addressed me just straight line, saying I came to YouTube for him. Like, what is he getting this from? Like, I was in YouTube before even knowing of you. Already had like 9,000. What are you talking about? Yeah. But he was so ticked off that I was, would not come in. So he eventually called for my channel to be flagged down. But I'm telling you, I was getting warnings even before that. So even after that, I was like, forget that now. I'm going to go on my other channel. Yeah. That got shut down. And then my computer crashed with a lot of, But the Most High, I would say to get my channel back. Now, I can't say that I've totally gotten back off on track where I was. But I knew that it wasn't the time. I addressed what I needed to address. I knew deep down that you have to see, I'm grateful. I wasn't making money up in there. I feel bad for y'all that ain't got used to this, got comfortable, think that I'm telling you, that all y'all hustlers, grifters from the FBA grift and all that, you may think that when you know what you're doing, and if you are supporting this president and this wicked agenda and these politics, I'm telling you, this ain't no democratic talk. You know that this is wicked. And you're trying to secure the Republican vote or whatever the hell you're trying to do. Eva Netanyahu, whatever, all this wickedness. Yeah, it may seem like, I'd rather I'm glad, Most High take care of me right away. When you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. It's really sad, especially when you recommended these people, their channels and stuff. Now look at this with Perez Hilton. So that tells you, well, he's laughing and joking and making it seem like he don't have no care. I'll talk about you. This night, you see, he's it's miserable. And some say, well, this is not fair. Wasn't he just quoting the Bible? This and that. No, you notice how it seems like when they think they can, after doing their dirt, when they want to kind of clean stuff up. Like I even heard with P. Diddy, like, he was trying to do some. No, you've done some. There still can't overlook that dirt that you've done. Now, yeah, I know that there's some of these people that may be lying on them. Yeah, I'm not stupid with some of this stuff. But it don't even matter because people do. Bottom line is people saw what you did in that video. Like I said, I knew he's a bad boy, but I didn't know he's bad like that. It's just when I think of people like Clive Davis, you know. But I'm not going to tell myself that they died without punishment around it, because we know that, you know, there's, you know, it ain't over with. There's still judgment. Even these ones that we may think have died happily ever after and didn't get to, they didn't experience the humiliation ritual and all of that. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, the bone picker. Yeah, he did a video. Shoot, for sure. I remember at night, I was listening to that at night. Lights was off, and I had the headphones on, and it was like messing with me. What I mean, you used to be a warrior up in here. You used to like basically like I'm weak now that I'm, you know, no longer Justin Tommy, and yeah. Now I kind of let that, even if he meant well, but I did kind of let that get to my head a little bit. But if it's time to move on, you know, what can I say? And also me being a woman, there's a certain point. Even with this she, it's I can't. Recently though, I feel like I have been compelled to speak on certain things. But even with that, I'm getting the message like it's kind of time to move on. And not quite as it was definitely time with the whole thing with Tommy. Oh, that had been. Oh wait, you talking about no, not Perez Hilton. Oh no, that's on a whole nother side of town in social media. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to be, consider what you said here. You know, I'm trying to be, you know, I'm trying to what with the Most High thing, you know, but I do feel. Oh yeah, but I want to say this because I just noticed this, even though I didn't really listen to it. I'm gonna come back to listen to it because I'm just not ready. I peeked into it, but you see this right here. Oh yeah, this got me mad. Oh, I can't stand these agents up in here. But I also noticed this sister here, Korean Lord, in one of her videos had got me really thinking of, yeah, it was her video after the whole thing with Minister of Wellness recently, because it had me so disturbed. I had to give like a testimony that I ended up getting into with my husband. I was so upset over it, right? Yeah, because I wanted to come up in here right away and stream because I was mad, and that's what I usually do to release. And he told me no. Like my husband's here now, but he's letting me stream now. But he told me no, and I'm like, "How y'all told me no?" You know, I was mad, but I, you know, and it was this sister's video. Even though I ain't even been that familiar with her channel that long, but she had a video, and it really had me thinking, like, you know, I can't keep focusing on these bad people and stuff. I can't allow it. It's just I keep getting okay. Like for instance, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm tired of getting like, look at this here. Like, why is this video? I don't want to see this. Like, what the hell is this? African tribalism invades Black America. Diaspora theory. Oh, that's Minister of Wellness's wife. I'm subscribed to her. His former wife. Ironically, right next to this. See, this is what I'm supposed to be focusing on. See, I ain't even noticed this until, yeah. Now, this was his former wife, and sadly, you know, she had lost her daughter her daughter had seizures like me. Yeah, and it just seemed like it was after that, you know, yeah, that, you know, they eventually broke up. Not to be gossipy, but I'm just saying, you know, yeah. I don't believe that was Minister, but anyways, yeah, but I am still subscribed to her, and you know, she's keeping it classy, all right. But I think she was probably behind that whole menu book and everything. I believe that those were all of her recipes in that book that we ordered, you know? So this is what I know I should be focusing on. And see, I ain't even really noticed it, even though I had this tab open. It was this that caught my attention. Like, why am I being discussed? Why? See, I'm subscribed to this channel. I'm not subscribed to this. Why? Who is this? Why is this? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, so.
Wait. If you were locked up at any Illinois,
forgive me for clicking in, but it's like diaspora theory. See stuff like this. immigrants and like I'm just tired of these Africans acting entitled to American fan bases. You know, see, like, who are these people? They just popped up overnight. Their channels, you see how many views it's getting, and I know I'm not helping. I know I'm not helping. But it's no coincidence that this is popping up on my homepage. I don't even know about this channel. Never clicked into it before. Never watched a video. But it's like it's making me so upset. African tribalism invades Black America. Africans using reverse one drop rule. I'm just kidding. It's like just everybody up in here now is a player, right? It's like so sad. It's just everything's irking at me. But anyways. Getting back on this, because I gotta stop focusing on this. I gotta just ignore it, even if it pops up. I'm gonna have to ignore it. I'm subscribed to this woman. She talks about menopause. Oh yeah, the Simpsons just had it. Now it's funny. Now everybody's talking about menopause. They just had a Simpsons episode. Simpsons is just not funny as it used to be. And you know they showing Ned Flanders with a Black girlfriend and stuff. Like, oh goodness, oh boy. But Marge. They had the kids like teenagers and Marge experiencing perimenopause and stuff. Like I guess everybody, like we're all going through perimenopause at the same time or something. But anyways, on a serious tip, I was like, wow, she has a video now. I haven't listened to it all because I don't think I'm mentally prepared for this yet. I don't think I'm mentally, emotionally prepared. I clicked in, but I said, let me click out because and we are we about to plan. Other than that, we're gonna try to do the vacation thing while he's off work. We finna decide on what we gonna do because I need a vacation, y'all. So I may just be uploading little shorts and stuff. We ain't decided, with the money we got, we gonna see what we gonna do before you got to go back to work because I need a vacation right now. Right, I really do. I'm so mad at social media now. I can't even tell you. Breathe in, breathe out. But and you, why did you show me that? Why did you show me that? Why did you post that late? Because but I can't mess with it. I can't mess with it. Maybe I'll come back around to it when I'm in debunk some of this, but I can't mess with it. But I'm seeing this. Why did God allow this to happen to me? This is Corinne Allure Day, if I'm saying her name, one of her channels. So she's apparently she's been in a terrible, where she's saying she's an accident. She's been in a terrible accident. I'm like, oh my gosh. I clicked out. I haven't listened to it because I'm just not ready. But she's okay, apparently. Well, obviously she's sound like it's going to take her 6 months. And it's she's got here, should I give up on God? Absolutely not, sis. I'm going to just say this, though, and I'm not the most high. Only concern that I have with her channel. Now, I discovered her channel. She was initially doing videos like on her Corinne Allure Biographies channel. She got 2 channels, as far as I know. And she would just be talking about, initially I discovered, she would be talking about famous women, like, in Hollywood industry and, kind of doing it like kind of biographical. And it's nice to hear that there are still human voices and not AI and a real person talking. And I like her videos because I used to love watching A&E biography, and she's talking about starlets and stuff. And it's very, very interesting. Let me see. I'm trying to open her channel. I forget it. But well, let me just. Okay, she got 2 channels. Yeah, she got 2 channels, Mental Gems and Biographies. Yeah, like you see on her Biographies channel here. Yeah. Now, I can't say I agree with her on everything. But yeah, that's where I remember I just responded with the mini Ripperton. Because I will say it's eye-opening. However, only one of the criticisms I would have, nobody's perfect up in here. Like one of her videos she had on Roman Planet, I had to click out because there was just too much. like, okay, I started listening to her video. I was curious. I already knew some of these things about Sammy Davis Jr. and I talked about it, and I really wanted to watch it, but then I clicked out, as you can see here, because yeah, I clicked out because it was just, you know, when it goes too much into the wickedness and stuff. And that's the only thing, that's one of the things I would or the only thing really with her channel. Yo, I ain't got nothing, you know, because I noticed that she went from doing you know, like just basically biographies and, you know, sharing, you know, their secretly. Yeah, like with this, I had to click out a lit on Roman Polanski. Yeah, but then I noticed that she's talking more from a Christian perspective and a Bible believing perspective, and yeah, and that's good. That's all good. But only thing, so I noticed too that she's also just like myself, you know, exposing how some of these celebrities into occultism and New Age idealisms and all of that. Like I had learned, like I was like, wow, with her Grace Jones video was kind of eye opening. But I did notice with her Grace Jones video, I had to kind of fast forward a little bit because there were some things that were like a little too demonic, like showing a performance that Grace Jones had participated in. And for the first time, now I honestly with Grace Jones, of course, as a Bible believer, I can't believe with everything that she chooses to do, and you know, but I never saw her as, you know, possibly being under any sort of control. I felt that with Grace Jones, she was just kind of more of a rebel, being that she had a very religious preacher father, and, you know, her and her brother, and he's extremely strict, kind of like when you think of like a cult leader. I mean, that's the way I remember my mom talking to me about it with Grace Jones and stuff. So of course, I can't agree with all of Grace Jones' antics. Like my mom said, I mean, when I was young, she'd do stuff like my mom didn't approve her answering the door naked, things like that. But I never thought that Grace Jones could have herself been someone under some sort of mind control, you know, like a monarch or a sex beta kid. I never thought. I thought that this, because Grace Jones always kind of come off as, you know, like she is in control, you know, like you know, yeah, there are some people, they don't realize though that even in being a rebel, you know, like especially those who rebel for the sake of rebelling, sometimes these who consider themselves rebels, they're controlled. They're allowing the people or the system or whatever that they are rebelling against to control them and who they become. You know, they may not realize they're controlled themselves. But in the case, because I didn't really know about her relationship with the white guy, I forgot his name, that kind of molded and, you know, her as a model and an entertainer and all that, and a muse, if you will. The title is Grace Jones, A White Man's Ideal of African Femininity. He made her scary on purpose. And I never really thought about that. Like, could she have had a handler herself, if you will? Could she have, to a degree, been groomed? I do think that her child has something to do with it. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. People will do anything for clicks and views today. They are full-time content creators, and this is their livelihood. Yeah, of course, we all do things. I'm doing videos right now. We all want viewers. We all want listeners to some degree. Yeah, it's just that with me, I am saying what it is that I believe. I can't speak for everybody else. I feel as long as you're expressing your opinions that you believe, I'm not against necessarily that. We're all up in here. Understand though, when I came in YouTube, that was before we even knew we could make money up in here. So it really was people who were just really expressing what we believed, and, you know what I'm saying? And we just wanted to be heard or whatever, or wanted others to hear the message and see what it is that we were sharing. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying. I do believe that Corinne is, you know, expressing what she believes. I do believe that. Yeah, of course. It's about, you know, there's nothing wrong with people. There are some people that maybe this is what they want to do. Maybe they want to talk about celebrities. Maybe this is something. Obviously, she's fascinated in these starlets, these female starlets. And yeah, it's fascinating, the biographies and stuff. Because I used to love watching the biography when I was a kid, like on A&E back in the 80s. I used to love watching biography and learning about, yeah. And my mom, because that was one thing with my mom too. She also liked, like with the Hollywood. Yeah, that's one thing I can also say about my mom too. Yeah, this is very interesting on Diane Carroll. LSD, class LSD, rabbit hole, and jealousy. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything. Yeah, like a lot of people don't know about Hedy Lamarr. Yeah, because my mom always had me up on how. That's another thing. My mom also had me up on Hollywood and yeah, and entertainers and my mom she definitely kind of fashioned herself after Diana Rouse and Diane Carroll, and my mom was compared to those women. But the thing is, I can't say that like my mom, I wasn't as girly as my mom was, but my mom was definitely into glamour, and you understand. So, even if I wasn't the girliest girl, I still just, I still was fascinating in learning about people's lives, yeah, just as I'm fascinated in different countries, different cultures. But yeah, it was just really, really interesting on Grace Young. But the thing is, okay, like I said, I had to fast forward certain parts in her things. Yeah, because I noticed, like, for instance, when she gets to talking about, like, let's say Alice Crowley. We've all talked about it, talked about the Baphomet. There's a time when we're talking about these things, when we are going to address these things. However, I would say to be careful because I was kind of concerned with some of the content. Now, of course, how could we talk about, let's say, Albert Pike's plan? Like, for instance, I wanted to see, since people were saying the whole prediction or whatever they claim with Albert Pike on the 3 World Wars, they were saying that was just, like the Willie Lynch letter. That's just something that became a popular rumor, this and that. So I said, let me do my own research if this letter was actually written to Mazzini, the Italian, yeah, I believe the year was 1871, was it? So I said, let me look into it. And, so we had access to Google Books and everything, went to the online libraries and stuff, looked through, and I did find that he did have these Albert Pike, these letters to Mazzini, but they were in another language. They were in Italian, right? So I went to Google Translator and I started, and you got to understand, you can't just copy paste. You got to type it out. You got to type out all these foreign words because I don't speak Italian, and you got to just hope that you got it right. And, I'm a pretty good typer. I don't have to look at the keypad and everything. Pretty fast typer. But as I was typing, it was just Lucifer. So there was these letters from 1871, I believe. And it was to Mazzini, and it was all this mention of Lucifer. I was like, wait a minute, let me stop typing. Okay. I was like, let me stop. Because this is well, that's your. I'm not saying that every celebrity, but see, I know that we have differing beliefs, Reef, when it comes to occultism, because I see it all as satanic, and self-worship is satanic. But yeah, so I was like, let me chill. Like I'm Lucifer name coming up too much. But I do believe, and I was able to find something else to kind of authenticate. That's a word, right? Yeah. That these were, yeah. So I come to the conclusion that yeah. I'll just put it that way. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is I had to leave it alone. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody has to research this information. Like, how can we tell you the origin of celebrating Christmas? Just like I had learned, from when I was a kid with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they would give detailed information on Saturnalia. Now everybody recognizes this. Now everybody knows Nimrod and, and Tammuz and all of that. But now everybody talking about these things. But, I was a kid knowing the stuff that they were saying, Jehovah's Witnesses were wrong about. Now everybody realizing, but there are things on Jehovah's Witnesses I can expose that can now be exposed as well. But yeah, in their history. But they were right about, certain things like the origin of, a lot of these symbols and stuff and these holidays. They were right about that, the pagan origin. Now people are more so realizing this. These holidays and stuff that they have nothing to do. They are not holy days in any manner. Okay, they have nothing to do with the Messiah, Easter, Ishtar, all this stuff, right? But anyways, yeah. So obviously somebody had to read Aleister Crowley's writings. They had to read Madame Blavatsky, otherwise they couldn't be able to tell us that where does the other a lot of this stuff come from, right? A lot of do with our will, all that talk. So but I'm just saying, for me, okay, like for instance, there was this channel, and this is back when there would be some of these, Hebrew Israelite camp channels that I still followed, even if I wasn't part of these camps. But like there was one of these alphabet GOCC, I believe, and it would be these two guys. Yeah, hold on, GOCC with the two guys. That one of them, yeah, it was always, oh boy. Oh, what's this? Exposed now. It'd be him he was always sitting next to another guy. And I remember, I don't know, but I will say out of all the Israelite camps and stuff, they did seem to, even though I don't follow the 12 tribes chart and all that, but they did have a lot of information on things. So I did still subscribe to one of the channels. This is years ago. And I also for, IUIC, even if I don't totally follow I don't follow 12 tribes chart or the white man was Esau and a lot of this stuff. But I did feel, out of the alphabet camps, if you will, that at least they had some info, they shared more information. And I just like information, right? That's another thing too I had to get out of just following channels merely because I like learning and I like people But I will say that GLCC seem to be one of the more educated of the camps, So yeah. But I just noticed it was just so with his eyes, and I know, okay, if you got naturally big eyes, you can't help that, right? You got naturally big eyes, you can't help that. All right, yeah, he'd be sitting with this guy, but it's just something. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be judging people just based on how they eyes. I like big eyes, While everybody's trying to get these mongoloid, says I like big eyes. I'm glad, Well, my eyes used to be bigger, but I'm getting older, so the eyelids are dropping and they're appearing smaller. But yeah, but it was just something. And I would notice that he was always using these extra creepy images. These really creepy images and talking about the Baphomet and all that stuff. And I even left the post. I was like, yeah, this is before the AI. I left the post kind of like, I don't mean no harm. I noticed your channel and all, but can you kind of, with the images, I find myself wanting to listen to the information he'd share, but turned off because the images were too scary. All right. And I'm a person, I used to watch horror movies and stuff, and I stopped. Yeah, the images were too scary. I understand, sometimes, I've even shown the images and talking about, what they're presenting here and and talking about the whole transgender and all that. I get it. But there's a certain point. Yeah, because some of the images, and this was before AI, they were creepy as hell looking. And I just knew it was something about his eyes, like he'd be looking through you or something. And this could be my own little superstition or whatever. But yeah. But then, okay, when somebody had a series, the Alphabet Boys, exposing some of these Israelite camps, right? That are misleading. I don't know if that series, if I can still find that series. It was called the Alphabet Boys. And I see that they got what they want you to see, YouTube. The Hebrew Israelites debunked. Look at this. See, this is what YouTube wants you to see, 2023. Yeah, I bet you vocab alone is in it. But anyways, it was some series years ago. The Alphabet Boys. See, they know what I'm looking for, but they're going to put up what they want you to see in debunking. See, this is the stuff YouTube wants you to see. See, I just put in Alphabet Boys, Hebrew Israelite. How come they got up here, Hebrew Israelites debunk? You see? YouTube is what they want you to see. It's what how did they know what I was looking for? This is what they want you to see. But I can't find the original Alphabet Boys. Like, you see, it's what they want you to see. So you don't believe anything. See, that vocab Malone, even though he's been greatly debunked. But anyways, see, I see all that's coming up now is what they want you to see. It's what they want you, YouTube, formerly known as YouTube, want you to see. But anyways, I don't think I'm going to ever find that because, yeah, see, it's what they want you to see. What this guy got to say, I don't think I'm going to ever find that. Even if it's what they want you to see. Okay, 9 years ago. See, look, it was able to, but now why? I got to put it in quotations. Now, this is supposed to be the first thing to pop up. I think this was the video. I think this was supposed to be the first thing to pop up in here. I typed it in clearly. No, it's what they want you to see. And this had got, you see, 15,000 views. It's 9 years ago. But yeah, when they got around to GOCC, well, anyways, when they got around to, this is what they were talking about. Yeah. And, yeah. And then they had showed that, I believe this is this series. Yeah, it showed that he had showed, okay, because I will say he's very intelligent, very informed, very educated, I'd say. And that's why I was subscribed to his channel. But then he had held up these books, showed the part where he held up these books. And he said himself, now, I don't suggest that you go to these books, but so he knew that, you kind of taking a risk even possessing these books. And he had books of Alistair Crowley, Madame Blavatsky. I was like, oh, goodness. So when you kind of feeling some like kind of demonic energy. Yeah, I was like, I said, I knew it was just something. Now, I will say that when I had left the post, like, can you tone down with some of the images? Just like I remember Thoughts Camera, it was this Paradise Shattered channel. Paradise Shattered. And they would be exposing stuff. Yeah, so we got to be careful with some of these exposing channels. And they may not even realize where they're focusing. That's another thing, too. We don't want to be giving Satan more focus. And I got to remember that even myself. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, because then it's like, you don't want to, now you're developing more so a fascination in what it is that you claim that you're trying to expose or you know what I'm saying? Or draw people away from. But yeah, I was like, oh, goodness. I knew I was feeling some, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's another channel that Paradise Shattered. Yeah, there's a certain point where we got to talk about these things. We got to address it. But when when it's too much focus on this, like you had these channels supposedly exposing Illuminati. They're not talking about the Bible though. They acknowledge Satan. That's what's interesting. You got these people, they acknowledge Satan, but they don't acknowledge the Most High Yah. Well, I'm going to say again, Reef, you can't get me to agree on just because something is an African cultural practice, Hamitic or Shemitic, that do not mean that it's good. And we know the original people, period, were Black. And all the occult secrets they learned from originally, quote unquote, Black people. And I'm not saying this to say, well, Black people were originally evil. That's not what I'm saying. But that doesn't make it good. Baal worship, none of that stuff. And I know people, oh, this is, see, the white man told you that this was bad. Yeah, I know certain things, you know, the stereotypes of cannibalism in voodoo. I know that there are certain things that have been stereotyped, but it still don't mean that these practices are approved by the Most High Yahuwah. And just because we are all quote unquote Black, that don't mean that we all practice the same things or should be practicing. Whether it's serpent worship, you know, all this Kundalini talk. And I gotta otherwise I would not be standing on my faith, Reef. You know, I love you, but you know. And some of these celebrities, they may not realize it. Of course, they're not going to see it as devil worship. We got to understand, even when we all this self-worship, and going back to talking about Perez Hilton and the XYZ community, when you think about it, when you're self, you know, when you think of, you know, I got to be careful because but you know, it is the point. We can't be scared. If I get a strike, I get a strike. Even in this same sex, I mean, it's just this whole seeing yourself as a god alone is satanic. But yeah. So no, of course, I'm not saying in the case of Korean the Lord, you know, praise Yah. I'm not ready to really listen to her video. All I'm gonna say, and this is the thing, how would I get that message? How would I get that message? I'm not trying to put the spot on her because I think she has sincere intentions. I do. I like her channel. And I believe that she said they've been coming at her. And you know, she's a sister, I believe, of Haitian descent. I don't agree with her on everything. I do think there might be a little female bias a little bit. Because she do seem kind of the hard on the men in a way. But maybe I'm just saying that because her video critical of Prince. It is what it is. And I gotta come out of my fandom. Yeah. But all I would say, you know, just be careful though with some of these, you know, with some of the research and some of the things that you choose to share. There's a way that we can talk about these things. Just be careful, because I understand you got to, when you're doing these videos, you got to get the research. You may need to, you know, feel that you got to share certain images and stuff. I would just be, because I know even when I shared with the Uber driver lady, I'm going to tell you, when I had found that there was footage, there was more to that video with the Uber driver getting unalived by that man, shot by that old man. Can't remember names now. Do you know, in putting together the video, I had to listen to that over and over again in editing and typing in the words, because I typed in all the words so that you could see what was said, if you could, in case you didn't hear it, where her pleading for her life. Do you know, in me having to rewind and editing over and over and hear that woman screaming, please, sir, that had me so depressed. That had really messed with me. And, you know, but I felt I had to. I said I wanted, in case they try to remove this from the internet and the family don't know it. I even contacted the family, you know, because I wanted them to see, you know, I tried to see if I could reach the family because, you know, because I feel like they were showing us something that was shortened. But, you know, in the original reports and the more local reports and stuff, I had found that that woman was shot at several times, like about a total of 7 times, and she had received 4 bullets in her. And when you listen to it in full, and so I felt I had to. I felt like I had a duty. Like I gotta put this and let y'all. You know what I'm saying? But it was so depressing because in editing and putting together video and typing out everything that she says and having to listen to the audio and decipher everything that she's saying, it was so, oh my gosh, it was so depressing. It was so doggone depressing. And because if you notice, there's those periods where you'll see me disappear for a minute. Like I remember when I was really with the whole Trayvon Martin, and that's when I really decided I can't be watching these reports no more. That's why I'm not trying to know the details of Nolan Wells or Carmela. I'm just not trying to know the details. But I remember with oh gosh, I had even got this thing where it could download this. What was the software? Remember with the audio, with the phone call before Trayvon Martin was shot and trying to decide the screens and everything. I had did video after video after video, and I was going at these white races, and it was having me so drained. It was so negative. It just was having me so like, and I had to disappear for 3 months and just to come back. And now you have this Tommy Sotomayor, and that's what triggered me to first do my videos addressing Tommy. Even though I knew of him for a year. But he had Trayvon Martin's deceased picture in a thumbnail of a video and stuff. And also there was this bodybuilder around the same time who died, a female bodybuilder. And he was making mockery. She had done nothing. He just wanted to talk about her weave. And I'm like, what the? I just love YouTube. It was the white racist that I was having to deal with before that. But now I'm coming back. Now people have been told me about this guy, Tommy. I'm like, this can't be real. This cannot be. He can't be for real. He had deceased Trayvon Martin's face laying there with his mouth open in the thumbnail. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on YouTube. I couldn't believe it. Oh gosh. The Tamir, oh my gosh. Don't even with the Tamir Rice. That I couldn't even talk about that. Another one that got me really, really, the Philando Castile jacked me up. It just makes me want to cry now. And I couldn't believe they had that in Facebook. We had our children witnessing. You watch that. And I was going to do a video on that because it was something I found out about that female that was with them. But I said, what if I'm wrong? So let me leave it alone. Let me leave it alone. Almost like this was said, like they wanted us to see this man die before us. And remember, everybody was able to see it. Your kids could see it in Facebook. And I feel, what are they trying to really desensitize us? I said, what is this is something really, the way that we were able to, and then the way Mike Brown lying in the streets. And so, of course, when a person like Cynthia G comes along and she's talking about the evil albinoid caucasoids, you were like, yeah, because I was angry. I can't even tell you. What was another? Oh yeah, there was a thing with the boy, and he was just with a gun in the store. It was a young man, and because sometimes my husband and my family will be in a like a Walmart or something, and we like going around electronics and the toys and stuff, and and this guy was just holding it. Yeah, that it was another incident. It's breaking my heart now even talking about it. But I was like, I can't. Yeah, that's why I had to decide I'm not going. Oh yeah, and I remember my niece called me about Sandra Bland. She was the first one, my niece Tasha, and she was really like disturbed, like kind of crying, and she was like, because she had heard about Sandra, and she said she was thinking about me, and so she was so concerned. She said, because Sandra Bland, she like me, she talks about things similar to me. So my niece Tasha was concerned about the things I was talking about in the internet, and she was kind of crying and was worried about me because she had just learned about with Sandra Bland. So I checked out what she was talking about with Sandra Bland. And yeah. And oh guys. Yeah, don't mention no more because I'm getting that's why it had got to a point where that's why I told people, y'all wondering why I didn't talk about with this and that, where like I used to up in here. I would come up in here like with the pool party situation with the cop because I couldn't emotionally deal with it. I don't want things that's going to cause me, with my husband and I don't want things that's going to, because the last thing that really made me cry like that was with the whole Minister of Wellness. And I just said, I know me and my emotions, and I know that I can't handle. Because I'm getting, Reef, I love you, but why you share that with me? Because I realized, that's why I said, let me come over here and talk, because I realize I'm mad now this morning. I realized what you shared talking about Betty Shabazz, and then me seeing this with Nefertari Dessalines with the whole thing with the Haitian and how this Dennis Sperling is trying to make, they're playing on the whole Dominican versus Haitian and then making it into a light skin versus dark skin, mulatto versus monoracial. I'm like, I'm so sick of these agents up in here. I'm so sick of this. It's like, man, I've been witnessing this too long. These people, I'm like, Lord, these people got to pay. And then right after that, I scroll, I see this on Perez Hilton. So I was like, because I was not going to come up in here. We supposed to be like planning what we're going to do, what's left of the vacation. But I know that I'm in a bad mood today, and I realize why. And I love you, Reed, but you know what y'all don't share? Ooh, goodness. I remember I was actually mad at the YouTubers who told me about that Zealot channel, that Divested channel. You know the one I'm talking about. I was mad. I probably still got the YouTube on private where I was with my niece. I was out of town with my niece at that time, and I was in a dark room, had my laptop, did a little live stream. Like, I'm done with YouTube, y'all. I can laugh it off now, but like, y'all kidding me? I went and checked it out. Like, you I'm done. I'm done. I can't. And maybe I'm being too emotional. But yeah, I'm telling you, y'all, you can't tell me. Yeah, so it's obvious you got these people, they desensitized, they demonized. And all I'm saying, I'm so glad this is the Korean Lord. I'm very praise y'all. I prayed. I couldn't listen to her video yet because I ain't ready.
But recovery.
But I prayed because her video had really touched me after I was so hurt by the whole thing with what I witnessed with Minister of Wellness. And then my husband wouldn't let me come up in here and release because no telling what I probably would have said. Yeah. And so, yeah, she's saying, why did God allow this to happen to me? And this makes me want to cry. I'm not ready to listen to this all yet. I really ain't, sis. But I'm going to come back to it when I'm strong enough to, but you stay faithful. All that I'm going to say, yeah, I'm scared because she said that it's going to be 6 months or something. And that's when I clicked off. So I haven't listened to the rest of this because I was like, I can't. I'm grateful. So I just stopped it. I prayed. And, I was with my husband. And I'm just going to say, I know she don't hear me. But and I'm afraid to, because I kind of want to tag her name and make a video, but I don't want to put her on the spot. But I am going to talk about this with y'all, and just because it's just about me right now, even though it shouldn't just be about me. I'm just, this is my only therapy. But you're still here. You're still able to talk to us for a reason. I just want her to just. I don't want to sound new agey or myself, but like how they say, protect your energy. We gotta, because that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to some of this stuff just scroll on by. Like once I'm telling you, I went off on my cousin. I don't talk to her no more anyway. And I see, obviously, but before I broke off all contact with one of my cousins, because we was in Facebook, and I noticed that she's always be putting up these dang on pictures of like a kid that was kidnapped. And it's like, because I know this family member, these two family members, like they the types that just be wanting to be at funerals. I don't know, just something weird, like when my mama passed. Even though days before my mama, well, I don't even want to talk about it. Let me not tell too much family business. But she was just always putting up this, you know. And then one time I'm scrolling through Facebook, right? I'm seeing look like a little girl with a Tickle Me Elmo thing laying down. And then I realized this is a baby laying in a casket. And so I started going off like in Facebook. You know, I ain't really saying that, but you know, like, what is with y'all posting this kind of stuff? Like, you know, because it got me to a point in social media where it's like I'm scared when I scroll by and I see a graduation picture with a young black person. Like I feel like I'm going to click in, or if I read the thumbnail, it's another report of some black kid. You know, you remember after the whole Mike Brown thing that was, you know, they had the picture with him with the graduation cap and stuff. Seriously, that's the point I got to. Like, if I see what look like a school photo of a black kid, I feel like there's some terrible story attached to it. And I can't, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. So yeah, I just snapped in Facebook, like, you know, I was like indirect. Like, what is wrong with y'all, you know, posting this kind of stuff? Like, you get off on this or something? Is it that you really care about kids? Why would you be posting? Like, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? You posting the image of the child laying in the casket. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you just weird to me. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this relative. You know what I'm saying? Like just something, and see, it comes off to other people like they care about, you know, the children. And you see, and I know what the deal is. Like, I don't know. It's just something really, really weird. Yeah, let go and let God. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I know I'm wrong in saying this, but it's like what do you want to trigger people? That's what I was saying with Cynthia G. Like, do you want to trigger black women? Like, and even with that Shay Sade channel, I think she want to trigger black men. Do you want to keep black women angry who they choose? You know, is that what you're trying to do? You want to keep your people triggered? You want to keep black women mad at black men, angry and triggered? Just like these other channels want to keep black men triggered. But there's some people that can't get enough of hearing about how much black women can't stand you or how much black men can't stand you. You know? Like, why are people, you know, always trying to keep each other triggered and shit? I'm just really getting tired of that. So I've done my rant. You know, I'm done. That's why I gotta, you know, like sometimes we just want to chill up here for real. Like, y'all illin'. I'm about chilling. You know, and they won't let you chill. Like, every time you look up, something reminding you of this crazy world we living in. Can't chill. Like, can't even talk about hip hop without making it into an FBA versus, like, shut up. Like, I liked Dwan B's channel initially, and I was glad he went at Eminem. Don't get me wrong. But now I got to be this, you know. But let's say if that's the only time I talked about hip hop, the only time, you know, and he just add things, just this FBA versus. I'm getting tired of this, for real. Don't get me wrong. Like, we used to be at the message forum. Yeah, we talked about the seriousness of racism. Of course, it's the time you got to get serious. It's the time you got to get triggered. If you ain't motivated, if you ain't moved enough. Like, that's really what our favorite. It was hard for me with that Uber driver lady, but I was like, no. I was like, yeah, people got to see this, that, you know, because the way it was being reported. And I was like, just in case they try to hide this. But imagine if I was doing that every single day. Lord. That's how I was like, y'all, I still don't know the details of Breonna Taylor. I don't know the details of Ahmaud Arbery. I don't know really with Nolan Wells. Of course, I'm going to pick up on something. And then sometimes my husband tried to show me something like, I don't mean no harm. I just, if you know me, you know, I can't take it. I remember my niece was telling me, like, when my mama was first hospitalized, they were telling her, don't contact me. Because my mama know. My mom would have been mad at me. I remember, you know, it was a guy's dating. He was in an accident. He died in a car accident. And he was a biracial guy. I was like, you know, kind of like, he was my boyfriend. He was older than me. I was like only 14, 17. So, and when I was 15, he was 18. But we never had any sexual. That was back then. And my niece Tasha was able to find the report in his family. Yeah, Londale. She was able to. I was like, damn, you found a report on that. Yeah, this was in Milwaukee in late 80s. But when I went to see him in the hospital after, and I remember my mom was going off on me and stuff. And it was around the time that I really started running away and stuff. And I, I went through the windshield of a vehicle. And my mama knew I wasn't used to seeing nothing like that. She didn't even really want me going to my father's funeral because my mom kept us from going to funerals and stuff like that. She tried to shield us from that. But she knew I wasn't used to, and she knew I was not the same after that. I had never seen somebody, so she was so upset that I even went to the hospital and stuff. And I understood because she knew I was, not used to seeing something like that. And she knew I got bad nerves. And my mama would always be worried about something triggering me to have a seizure. Yeah. So my mama knew, she knew that, and my mama would not have wanted me even going to a funeral. But I'm going to tell you, I didn't go to my brother's funeral and I didn't go to my sister's funeral. Some people criticize me, but I know what I can and can't take. So, I'm just letting y'all know. And sister, but you know what? I give myself credit. Call me weak, but I give myself credit because I'm still here. Like I tell people, I ain't went to drugs. I ain't went to, you know what I'm saying? Even if social media has been my, to deal with these things, I'm still here. I still raise my daughter. I still, you know what I'm saying? I still laugh. I still make people laugh. I still be happy. Because, see, I wasn't even supposed to survive birth. I was a miracle baby. That was the first thing my mama said. I was just laughing. They called me Laughing Jack. Even though I was in an incubator born under 5 pounds, but I was Laughing Jack. Still laughing baby. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not happening. So, no, I didn't go to their funerals. No. I want to remember people alive. I don't want to, with my sister's closed casket anyway, but I want to remember my brother alive. I still feel like maybe my sister gonna call me, being that we couldn't see our body anyway. So I still, you know what I'm saying? But that everybody, and that's the thing. When I had a family member, we gotta realize people deal with things different. We can't tell people exactly how to deal with a passing. Yeah, I see that. Dwan B is he's a basically kind of more than likely an employee, if you will, of Tariq Nasheed. But I was feeling him at first. You see, people like Dwan B, they kind of planted to take the place of people like me. And see, he didn't go at Tariq didn't go at Eminem because he couldn't, but Dwan B could, and he could share it and make it look like it's legit. Yeah, I know what's up. And that was all just to eventually go into the whole FBA, started with Fat Joe, who was probably in on this too. But yeah, I'm gone. So give me a minute. I'm still kind of disturbed. I'm glad the sister's here. I want to. How do I talk to her? I wish I want to talk to her and reach her because I want nothing but positive. I just want it all positive. I want the Holy Spirit. I don't want her to talk about. In other words, I don't want her talking about these satanic celebrities for a minute. For a minute, you know what I'm saying? I know this is her channel and everything, but yeah, I don't want no satanic energy. All right, with this sister. That's the point I'm making. I don't want even if she's just telling us about their life, I don't want the satanic energy whatsoever. But she's still here. She's still alive. She's still able to talk, and you will be back, sister. You will be back. So, yeah, I want you to enjoy it, and I don't mean to bring y'all down. This is just therapy for me. But all y'all wicked ones, you see what's going on. You see all the money Perez Hilton had. I'm not God, but you can't tell me that there ain't demons involved in what's going on with him. You cannot tell me. And I don't suggest y'all looking into a video because they saying it's a video with him, the video that him harming himself because he was doing this live. I suggest don't look into it. All right. I see a picture on Google, it's blurred, and that's enough. You don't even need to look at that. We ain't trying to transfer whatever demons. Okay? You can't tell me. Oh boy. I don't know who this tethers. Your name ain't attractive on this channel. We're not talking about people being tethers here. So I got to remove your post. Got to remove the post. I don't like the username. Okay. I'm gonna come back with something. Being sarcastic, tethered tunes, you know. If since y'all wanna, yeah, I'd like to talk about music and not feel guilty. But yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna and I don't know what we're gonna do, you know, the little that we have. But my husband only got a couple of more days off, so we gotta find something. I'm cool with just staying in my city, you know. I don't know what we're gonna do. But we gotta find something fun to do as for for vacation, for what's left of my husband's vacation time. So yeah, if we want to go there, but we're being sarcastic here. Right? Exactly. Aaliyah, right? Exactly. But yeah, we should talk about the music contribution to quote unquote American music. Okay. So give me a minute, y'all. I'm gonna be back. I hope I feel better. Yeah, because I'm kind of feeling disturbed today. But yeah, thanks for listening, and I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. And again, you know, it's going to be a reckoning for those who want to be wicked and be mean and be, you know, we've all listened to a little gossip, but there's a certain point. There is a certain, and you know when you're being mean. Y'all know. So all this mean activity with all these people, all this, you know, it needs to stop for real. And if you know, because you don't want to end up like that. So enjoy the rest of your day. Much peace and much love, my family. Thanks for joining.